just see, I can log in real quick and see if we're on the second link. Make sure it worked.
This side.
Back to libraries later. Yes, we're on. Okay, so we're back, welcome back. We're now up to Lakes. Thank you ladies for being here today, appreciate it, good to see you guys. Keeping warm, I hope. Can you three just let me know your name, only because our recording secretary records remotely, and sometimes she can't hear names, and I don't know you guys.
I'm Brittany O'Mara.
That's right. Alright, perfect. It's good for the record.
Jagusis, I'll spell that for you.
Thank you.
C is in zebra, I-S is in Sam.
Okay. Nation. Name?
Lisa Hoover, Hover.
Perfect. If you guys wanna come up here, our budget pages that we're looking at are in this red book and it's there for you as well. Okay, thank you ladies, or whoever wants to.
I think I printed it out, so I think everyone
Did
has
you?
it too.
Okay.
Find out.
Would Corinne already have that?
I sent it to her yesterday, maybe
Oh,
she
you
was,
have it, alright,
okay.
that's great, thank
I
you.
can check and see if it's the same.
Yeah. Okay.
So what we've been doing is we've been kind of just going right to the numbers, just to, cause that's what we're here to talk about. So if there's anything in particular that you wanna share with us, Brittany, in regards to the budget changes and why the asks, that would be great.
Okay, we might have to speak independently on each of our lakes, just cause I don't know about
Okay.
the
Sure.
others. But, so I'm Buddhist. Our budget is, we're looking for 5750 more than last year. Last year was kind of on the low end for us, cause we didn't really have much going on, but in the past year, we've worked with, I think Irene, trying to figure out getting grass carp in the lake, which we've been working with the DEP on that. If that ends up going through, it will cost us more than it has in the past, so we'd have to put up some netting and some different things and buy the carp. We have a lot of people interested in helping support a new endeavor, so we're hoping for more donations regarding that project. And then we've also been working on trying to get a drawdown, so there's an extra like 2,500 factored in for that. But otherwise, it's still just maintaining the weed harvester is our biggest expense. We're paying for gas and maintenance on it and trying to keep it going.
Okay, the carp thing, there's some concern as far as putting whatever the netting is, I'm trying to remember, over the pipe end as far as whether or not the water would go through or we get caught up with the debris, I forget like where we ended up with the end of that conversation, I don't know what that was, with land use or.
I believe at the town where Public Works Department, whatever that is, they gave us a letter saying it was okay based on the design. We got a sign off, cause we had to submit
Okay.
that.
Alright, cause that's what I remember is the
Yeah.
last conversation about
I think
it,
it was
so
like
that's why I was.
Michelle, is that her name?
Michelle Velez,
Okay, yeah, we got a letter saying that it was okay, that they approved the design, cause it's a double net system, so the debris will be on the first one hopefully, but the second
Okay.
one is in case there's any kind of debris. But to be honest, I don't think Deep is very crazy about doing this, so I'm not sure if it will happen, but it's in the budget in case it happens.
Okay, so that is which part of the budget, the 3750?
It's in the lake restoration under Moody's for just 10,000 total, that would be the harvester expenses and carp project.
Do you know how much of the 10 is harvester?
It's about what it was last year, which was 6250. It's really more like, we came in lower than that this past year, so I would say $6,000 for, and then 4 for carp.
Okay, perfect.
And then the 2 on the miscellaneous adjustment, that was for a drawdown.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions about Moody's? No. No? Okay.
Okay, Bashan, our issue is we've got no photo back and forth again. Last time we treated that as a $74,000 expense.
Can you, I have a hum over here, can you just speak up a little bit?
Okay, sorry.
That's a,
Okay, our biggest issues now are that we have no flow back in the lake again. The last time we treated it, it was a $24,000 expense. We're not expecting it to be as high this year because it's not as spread out as it was that time. And our other problem is that we do have Connecticut River Hydro that got into the lake. We hand pulled it in the fall, but we don't know how successful it's gonna be, so we've got some budgeted in here as a potential having to treat that as well. And we are still free of them.
Fanmore?
Annual.
And is that like pesticide that, do you pull it mechanically or do you
No,
treat it?
we use herbicides.
I know that there's a lot of hydrilla hubbub about it now with the testing they did on the Connecticut River and DEP and everybody else. Is there, I know that we were, over at Gardner Lake, we were talking about, there with the Secretary of State, talking about, some wash stations being put in possibly with using federal funding. I mean, I know federal funding is, who knows where that is right now, but is there anything that's coming from the state of Connecticut right now regarding milfoil? I mean, like, we hear about all kinds of money there and everywhere, but you guys know whether or not you get a check, so that's why I'm asking. Have you?
We have a DEP grant,
Okay,
a 2-year grant, to have flow monitors.
right.
And so we've used flow monitors last year, starting in June, but only on the weekends.
Those are people, correct?
They're
People, yes, they check most.
Visibly.
physically there, looking, inspecting those. People have been very responsive for it.
I was gonna ask, yeah, how did that go
Yeah,
last year?
they've been responsive, everything is gone well, we had one boat we significantly covered with these. And you're not even supposed to have them when you go to transport them, but they worked well with them getting them out. The problem and the concern is that the Connecticut River Hydroller is in the dam cove, which is in furthest opposite of the lake, that's the whole. So it's not what we would have expected it if it was a boat launch problem. We have a seaplane that keeps dropping and doing touch and goes on the lake, and the concern is that it's actually potentially bringing stuff in. Same thing is on Hookity Puck as well.
Yeah, so we talked about the seaplane situation, and I thought Bill and I had gotten to the point where there was a way to stop them from landing because they needed to go 35 miles an hour to take off, and they can't go 35 miles an hour on our lakes.
But this particular pilot is belligerent. He's got a Facebook page, and Bill's wife put some comments on him saying, listen, this is the issue. And he's like, it's a state lake, I can do whatever I wanna do. And then he also said, well, I'm gonna be experimenting with the plane that can take off at 35 miles an hour.
And it's just one seaplane?
One particular plane. Last year, 2023, Bill was successful with the Seaplane Association and Goodspeed Airport.
Right.
Getting it shut down, but this particular pilot is dead.
So he doesn't come from Goodspeed.
I don't know where it's coming from.
You can reach out to Bill and ask him.
Do the boat monitors check all boats?
On the weekends. Yep.
Does that include like canoes and kayaks or
News kayaks, anything that's going in.
anywhere? Good.
And we put together a pamphlet that we are distributing as well. Just with information on cleaning the boats and that sort of thing. So it's the education.
Not that I wanna ask this question, but I'm gonna ask it. You said it's 24,000 to do the milfoil or hydrilla? Milfoil treatment?
The last time we treated
25,000, okay.
but it was significantly more than last time.
So, I mean, obviously that's a big ask from previous year's budget, so if it were cut in half, can you do half a treatment? Can you do less than the full treatment? Does it make sense to do less? Again, I'm just asking the question.
With the milfoil, I think we would wanna do all of it, cause that stuff spreads so fast. And we'll figure out a way to
Does the treatment for milfoil help hydrilla or no?
Not that we know.
Van wort's different too?
And where it's different as well.
Okay. Anybody else have questions about Bashan? Question about Bashan? Thank you for answering the questions. Last up,
So, Lake Hayward. Our ask is 13,750. Broken down, that's for invasive weed control treatment at 55. Water quality testing and monitoring at 5,000. Water stream sampling at 1,000. Geese deterrent 2. And public education is 250, which we do.
so your miscellaneous adjustment is geese.
Did I say geese deterrents?
You said geese, yeah.
Oh, geese deterrents, 2,000?
Yeah, but that, on our chart, it says miscellaneous adjustment, but that's really for geese.
Yeah, we spend way
Okay.
more than that on geese deterrents.
Is that mechanical? Like, do you
No, we
put
have,
those fake coyote things up or?
No, those don't work.
No, I know.
We have,
Dogs, you need dogs. Right? Isn't that
we
what it is
use
now?
a professional to help aid Canadian geese deterrents, which is beneficial to keeping the beaches clean. We scoop the poop.
Oh, no, I know how much of a mess they make. I was just wondering what the deterrent.
So no, she comes in, there's a certain time of year that Nutmeg Farms, we contract them to come in. If we can identify the nests, and we have waivers that we've put out asking for private property access, and we've gotten positive response on that. And so we're able to go in and identify the nest. Lynette is permitted by the DEP to, they don't addle them, they swap them. So she reduces the geese population by reducing the amount of babies.
So they swap them with fake eggs.
And then, and we've seen a difference, so we're gonna continue to do that.
Never heard of that.
You didn't?
Never heard of that.
Oh, so she does a lot of work with the
Went
Coast
with me.
Guard and, yeah, I forget her last name, but her company is, Nutmeg Farms, I think.
Can you do that with any type of waterfowl, or is it just this is a specific thing that
No,
they
you can do
found that
that with-
geese?
Pretty much any bird.
But you have to be permitted, I mean.
No, I understand that, but I'm just asking, like, it sounds like such a funny thing.
So I've heard of addling, where they actually,
Oh, shake it
they
to
put
death.
it back so it never, that's just, they're not doing that, they're swapping.
Yeah.
So our geese deterrence is that, we're looking into putting up a fence to keep them off the beaches. But we have somebody, we have a geese committee, and we have one person who is year round, and she consistently, in the parts of the year that you're allowed to harass, she harasses them to get them off the beach. They leave, they go to the farm up top, they come back, and it's a whole thing, but we have geese. And we have a whole committee that pays attention to them.
And do you have geese at Bashan, or
We have a family of
Yeah.
foxes on Bashan, definitely.
Foxes, we have foxes
you-
in my backyard.
you imported foxes?
That was part of the budget.
Problem.
Yeah, but that helps.
So
It's natural.
going forward, we're gonna continue all of the measures that we have done, invasive weed treatment, testing for E. coli, geese deterrence. We're gonna continue twice monthly in the season, quality testing, water testing. We're starting a new focus on curbing runoff from the residents in the nearby farms that come down into the lake, and we're working with Chatham Health District on that. Educating the residents is an ongoing thing. We have a system with an email blast, instant contacts, so we're always keeping the residents all apprised of what we're doing and how they can help. And then we're gonna continue to aid our dam committee, which I'll circle back to that. And I guess we still schedule meetings with other lakes to meet. I'm reading what Corinne, who's normally here for this.
Yeah, no, you're doing a great job. Thank you.
Circling back, I know that last time, I guess, if Jeff was here and y'all asked questions about the dam and he was like,
Oh.
so right now, the way it is right now, the DEP has not blessed off on the permit yet. Hopefully optimistic that it will be signed internally by the end of February. The next step after the DEP approval is to post the project in the local papers for public comment for 30 days, and then hopefully the permit to repair the dam will be issued by DEP. So we're close to a permit.
And do we have an updated number on the actual repair cost?
No, because the community has been, when this first started, they came out with this number and then 16 days later it changed to something else. So the community has insisted, because they might be looking at a special assessment or, whatever. Community has insisted that this has to happen and Tim Pelton has to get this and then he can get real bids. Because nobody would bid it out for a project that might not happen in 2 years.
Right, okay.
So
At the time, I think we projected 30, but I don't know if that's a true number.
30 to fix the dam? I've heard 316,000.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's for
This
maybe 300,000.
capital
Yeah.
project in here, every year something gets messed up with it, so you'll see, like, it says in here 30, cause it's only last year's and this year's, but
Yeah.
you guys have gotten 15,000 since
Yeah.
I've done
What's
this,
the
which is
balance?
wild.
So the balance today is 107,385.
Is there a carryover project that has to be merged with this, or did they reach their like maximum, the capital projects have like a certain number of years they can be active in here for? Like, do you see this thing that I see too, like
Yeah,
this
so
says-
that's ClearGov, that's just for budgeting, so I'm looking
Okay.
at our actual accounting software
Ah.
and that's where the number, so this is just kind of like a stamp of what we're requesting today and then
Okay.
what could be moving forward for the project.
So like the total is just the past 2
I was
years.
reading the wrong.
Yeah.
I'm looking at what you're looking at too, I think.
So our ask, you must have what she asked for then?
I'm not
She's asking
sure.
for 50 for everything that I had listed off. She's asking for 50% of that, which is 13,750.
Oh,
Yes,
right, that's in here,
13,750,
yep,
yeah.
Okay.
yep, we do have
Yeah.
that.
All right, thank you, Lisa. Anybody have any questions about all of this?
Public Works is not involved with that, excuse me, with that, correct? You guys are contracting privately.
Well, yeah, eventually they'll get quotes from private contractors, yeah.
Who actually owns the dam? Is it deep?
We
You own it as lake owners.
I might misspeak, I've gone to all these meetings, but they're so tumultuous. I believe that we own the dam, somebody in their infinite wisdom said that we should buy it years ago.
Lake Hayward owns the dam.
Owns the dam.
Lake Hayward Association.
Association owns the dam.
Yep.
But the culvert on the other side is the town, so
It's like a partnership?
I think so.
For those quasi-public partnerships.
Now you know why it's tumultuous.
Yeah, well, I think that at some point Public Works will have to be involved because,
Of the culvert side,
yeah, you
Or
fix the
something.
dam,
yeah.
but you need to have that fixed as well or something. And there's where I just don't know. But if you have any questions financially, I am the treasurer for Lake Hayward, so I could always answer those questions, just reach out to me.
Thank you.
And I have what I have here for the DEP, the explanation for the dam, do you want that from me? 'Cause I'll leave it.
Yeah, sure.
It's just,
Yeah. Yeah, just so that
it's just the
I have
blurb
it.
that somebody had sent me, so
Awesome, thank you.
just to keep it in memory.
Perfect, thank you. All right, anything else? Saying how we were talking about the dams.
I mean, at the risk of opening a can of worms, I just like my clarification, so I'm just curious why Lake Hayward does water testing and water stream sampling, Bashan and Munis don't. You do, but it's not in here.
No, in fact, I just wrote myself a little note over here.
Okay.
Great.
We also have water testing done because we're the only town beach, is our understanding, so whoever
I didn't see-
Chatham,
Yeah, I don't see it listed.
yeah, so Chatham Health District does the
Okay,
water
so it's-
testing at the beach, and if there's any issues, we're on a list to be like notified, so we haven't had any. And in terms of like lake studies, we've tried to get one done, and Greg Bugby from the DEP wants nothing to do with it currently. He doesn't wanna know he doesn't think we've used the harvester enough to get good results, he says we need more time. So we're in touch with the DEP about doing testing and sampling and a report, but they don't wanna do it yet.
I was just curious.
seem like
So is your
that.
testing and sampling done within your lake restoration line? Or is that,
I would,
it's probably in there, but it's in a different,
it's in there.
it's included in that line?
Yeah.
Whereas
We
Lake
used to
Hayward
do-
broken out.
Yeah, we used to do our lake quality, our water, testing through the Chatham Health District as well. But they refuse to do it because we don't have a public beach on the lake.
That's our
So we're
difference,
using
we
it on-
And you do your own. So everybody's doing it, it's just how they do it. Makes sense with the public.
Yeah.
I just wanna make sure it was accounted for.
Yeah, it sounds like they're all doing it, it's just, yeah.
We also don't know, like, there's the other association beaches, but
Okay,
because
yeah.
Buddhist has multiple associations, like, that's not who's represented right here, the preservation group is, so other people in the associations might do it at their private beaches.
Thanks.
Yeah, probably.
I would hope
We
so.
have municipal finance and we have associations. So our colleges, just So,
There you go.
one thing for clarification, when we put this budget through, it's gonna be a total budget divided by 3 equally among the lakes again, as it has been in past years.
No, it'll be.
We got, the
by
past
the
couple years, we got it by lake. The clarification I
I was
guess
gonna
we
say,
still
I
don't
think-
have is if say I only spend $5,000 and they overspend, can I give it to the other lake if it, that would be good if we
I
could.
think that's what we did.
It hasn't
last year.
happened to
Isn't
us,
that what we did last year?
No, they typically, I think you guys provide receipts and stuff
Mhm.
up to your amount, right?
And
that
none of
you're
us
requesting.
exceeded any, like, the question was always if like Bashan exceeded and I didn't, could I give it to Bashan, but no one exceeded last year, from
Right.
what I knew. So that hasn't
That's what
happened.
we had been told at one point that that's responsible to go to somebody else, so that's right now.
I think so. Let me just double check.
Yeah, we'll double check. We'll
Double
look
check
at
There's
it.
no money, like, so it must all happen at the end of the year? Is that when you guys get a check?
Yeah, we get the reimbursement
There's
after
no
the fact.
actuals.
We usually get it
Yeah.
a month after fiscal closing, cause I
Yeah.
I submit my
So
report
it's-
immediately at close.
Mm-hmm.
Then that makes sense as to why there's nothing expended as far.
That's why I'm asking if it was just a flat rate, if everybody just got a flat rate, then, but it sounds like you can.
Yeah, we submit receipts and then we only get 50%. Like a lot of times Modis is, the budget is way more than we actually end up spending. I never realized that it wasn't populated in here. That's not me that populates it, right?
No,
No.
no.
I know our ask this year is less than last year, and
Yeah, it looks
Yeah,
like
it
seven
is.
hundred
Corinne
fifty
said it's
dollars.
because that,
Or $17.50 less.
the testing prices have maintained, like with Solitude and the big companies that we use, they pretty much stay steady.
Right. Anything else, Tanya? All set, thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You.
If you guys wanna go to a spaghetti dinner on Saturday, we're
Corinne
having it
said,
at the Sportsman's
Tonight?
Club next Saturday, sorry, I
Next
forgot.
Saturday.
Sportsman's Club, 5 p.m. We have tickets.
Corinne said, don't get excited, these meetings are really easy, because they're way easier than our board meetings, and she's right.
Don't let that get out.
Yeah, we gotta sound like we're tough.
No, I mean, I was
Crazy.
not. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you,
you.
thanks for coming in, guys. Stay warm.
Thank you too.
Now, back to the other.
Back to libraries.
Libraries. Where's the, there it is.
Oh, I had that pickle, man.
Not sitting well.
Good thing you had ginger ale.
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
Ah,
Pickle.
Pickle bothered her.
Not agreeing with me.
Okay, so we kind of figured out that the library is open 42, 43 hours each, which is a total of 86 hours that they're covering. And they wanna cover that with 3 people piece, that's their
Ideal.
ideal coverage is 3 people. But some of this issue, So anyways, so that's actually 258 hours. If you take 86 and multiply it by 3. Check that one more time. Yeah, 258 hours.
No, cause you already doubled
People hours, employee hours.
Right. So
So do you have to, so if you, so let's do it by each building, cause I think she's right, you have to do it by 6. So it's 42 times 3, right? Is 126, yeah, you're right, plus 126, 252, yeah. Sorry, just breaking it down different ways to
okay,
make sure we cover
so
it all.
252 hours.
Yeah,
And we did the math. And if you do the math and you go according to her staffing list,
there's
She's
303 hours.
303 hours.
of
And she's
different,
covering 200 and how many?
she needs coverage for 252.
She's covering 252 and she has 303.
Yeah.
So she's got 50 hours in addition.
Yeah, she doesn't use herself as the coverage.
She doesn't wanna.
So
you know,
take
she's
out-
gotta-
So 303
Take
minus 40, let's just do that for
Well, that,
Well,
260, yeah, I don't know.
when I managed a restaurant, I worked the grill
Yeah, right.
and I washed the floors. And I emptied the grease trap.
well, that was the complaint at the library trustees meeting, is that she can't get directed to work done because she's manning desk or covering shift. But unfortunately, inherently, that's always been done. Michael used to cover Saturdays and take Friday off.
Mhm.
Michael Gilroy used to be the Saturday coverage as the director and didn't work Fridays.
He didn't work Friday or he,
No, he, that was like, he
That
worked.
was like a
He
Saturday.
worked Monday through Thursday and Saturday, instead of Monday to Friday.
so he was not at the library on a Friday. So how did he get his director job work done?
That's what her complaint is, that, you know, especially recently, she's had a lot of sickness there. So she's really been like covering, and that's the.
I don't know what to say to that. I mean,
If you can't cover it with people, then you lessen your hours.
So to Eric's point, so Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays and Fridays, one library's open 10 to 5, the other one's open 10 to 7.
there's always a library open later.
Right, I know
Yeah,
that.
they flip flop, yeah.
I get that,
Yeah.
so,
They're open the same each.
well, what I'm wondering is could the one that stays open later, instead of 10 to 7,
12 to
12 to
I don't know,
7.
right.
Yeah, they're trying to expand it.
I know.
Yeah,
That's
they're
the hours,
continually,
so
yeah.
Unfortunately.
Well, you won't find an argument from me. You know? I think
I mean, is
there
that,
needs to be a reset of what, can we afford? And maybe the reset is when they come for a budget, we don't give them what they're asking for. And they're gonna have to work within the budget they're given. I mean, that's what this
We
meeting's
did a lot of-
all about, right?
Exactly, so
We
if
did a
you
lot
look
of
at-
work last year to get the libraries to a good spot,
Absolutely.
right?
But if you look at, we're at $500,000,
Yeah.
okay, for the
Yeah.
budget for this year. The fire department is at, well, it is substantially up there, but last year it was 591.
Yeah.
So we're running a fire department and a library at the same rate.
Sounds like a lot of money to me.
And again, not saying the libraries are not an important part of the town function, it's just, we have to make the dollars work, and again, we could do this if we got rid of 2 buildings.
It's even higher than our public highways.
Salaries?
The library is more
Well-
than our highways, highway department.
What do you mean? The highway
Oh, no,
department's
the
like
highway
1.3
department's
million, yeah.
She's talking about
Yeah, but this,
salaries, you know.
I don't have a problem with them expanding and growing the library, but I think growing it right now in the two buildings is a problem and a bigger problem every year. You know what I mean? Cause I think I understand and I appreciate what they're doing, but I think that this is not the time to build out the libraries.
Well, that goes back to my point, if one is open, one of them's open at 10, does the other one need to necessarily also be open at 10?
Well, I think
There's
Same
that much
stagger.
library
So
business.
you're saying that it would be just a matter of how you run operationally
Exactly,
to cover your hours.
Right.
So you could cut, yeah, that's it.
cut like 8 hours right off the top. Without, I think without hopefully losing a lot of services to the community, because they still have the option of going to the one that's open. We didn't close anything.
I think in our original
You
calculation.
just don't have them both open for that same amount of
I
hours.
think that's an excellent idea.
Okay, so let me ask you this, is it worth having Evelyn come back in and talk to us some more about how to rein in some expenses and to
We can ask her.
ask these
to-
questions?
I mean, I'd wanna hear some really strong defense on why you need 2 interns when you already are, at least I'm considering fully staffing, there's somebody there at the library.
Right, I mean, it sounds like they are fully staffed, they are more than fully staffed from the hours that these people are available versus the hours that they're open. And again, I can't,
They're fully staffed in the
Answer.
library and not in the police department.
Correct.
So,
so I mean, we could just cut it and not worry about it, or we could have another conversation.
I don't mind having another conversation, but those are the things that I'm looking at, though. I agree with Tanya's, I mean, maybe it's an operational fix.
Can we figure out when we could ask her to come in again?
Or do you wanna even ask her if she wants to bother, but here's what we're looking at.
I
If
could
she
have that
feels the need,
conversation.
right, if she feels the need to have to
Defend
come and
it, sure.
defend it and come in, otherwise, here's where we're cutting.
I could have that conversation, let you know. That's fine,
Or do you wanna
I'll give her the news.
have her come in and we can give her the news face to face.
Either way, I mean, I don't mind if you want me to have that initial conversation and see what she says, and then we can have her come in. I mean, we can get through these budgets pretty quick, so we probably
I
can
mean,
find some time where she can come in.
Who else, I mean, we're cutting other budgets too, we're not having them come in.
That's true.
What did you cut? You didn't tell me?
Not yet, we haven't told you
Okay.
yet.
I'm just saying.
I'm not sure that we're
You gotta
convinced.
tell me.
Well, no,
No, no, I'm
Not
just-
that you, I just didn't know if you guys talked about something when I
With
was in
Park
the
and
bathroom.
Rec, with the
Gotcha.
capital and stuff like
Yeah,
that, we're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
that's not,
Okay,
here's.
just talking about it.
Yeah, we're just talking about, we haven't cut
There's just
like
potential.
necessarily anything.
There's
These are
just potential.
potential.
Okay.
I'm
We
sorry,
have to
maybe
make
did
sure
I,
this.
did I,
Scared me for a minute
did I use a trigger word?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so.
Well, I think maybe the only reason to have her come back in is because this actually pertains to staffing, whereas Park and Rec didn't really.
No, but yeah.
But I don't
I
care
have
either
notes
way.
all over this thing, I'd have to go back. I know I have.
We have to fix it up, Valerie was fixing it up.
Yeah, I mean, we
Yeah,
went
we're
through
trying
line
to clean
items
up
that you were,
the
Clean up things, the
weird
negative
things,
numbers
the negative
and
number and the
and
water and the
water and
sewer.
utility line.
The
and-
water and the sewer.
Yeah.
you were going through
Bottom
public
line.
works, line item by line item, were you switching those numbers as we went through?
No, remember we decided we weren't gonna change anything. Like you guys were just talking about it.
Okay, well, we're
So
not there
somebody remember
We're
what you
gonna have
talked
another
about.
deliberation meeting, where we're gonna go back and say, okay, we're doing this, this, and
Cause I've
that.
got, like I said, I've got parts where I said we could do
He's
this.
ready to
So
cut.
that's
You're
where I-
ready? Alright, let's go. I can run the
that's-
numbers.
That's where I'm
Let's
thinking you
cut.
might need that Monday meeting to do
That's
your-
what, yeah.
to do your, okay, here's what we're really cutting, here's what we're really, you know,
Because
without
Monday
anybody
night and
coming in.
Wednesday night might be long. Not long, but we might take up all that
Wednesdays,
time.
and same with Monday night.
Yeah.
Monday night, I have a lot of people coming, and Wednesday, you're gonna be doing Board of Ed and Capital and Shared Services. And then you're slated to go through the whole budget and decide your cuts.
On Wednesday night,
I just think
it's
you're
gonna be
gonna
a lot.
be over the top unless you guys can bang it out. You know, and that would give you, if you do a little bit of that Wednesday, that would give you Monday for me to bring somebody in if you really want to
Yeah.
talk to somebody else. Not that I wanna do another night meeting.
I don't.
No, I don't.
No,
I mean, you can only mull this stuff
But
over
I
so
I
just
still gotta go
want- I
through
just
March
want
with
you
this
to
still.
have the opportunity to do
Right.
the,
your turnaround
I
has to
gotta
be
go to
quicker
Board
too.
of Finance now, do the same thing.
okay.
Right, we need to be sensitive to her, to your
Alright.
needs.
Oh, I've
So
never heard
are
anybody say
we
that.
leaving interns at least on here for the potential cut of the library?
In my book, I have it as, yes,
Potential cut,
yes.
okay, I agree. Are we looking to cut anything else out of this budget other than the 2 interns at this point?
Well, do they need the fence right away?
Do you need the fence?
The fence.
Oh, the
I think the
fence.
fence is going up before this budget.
no, it's in the budget.
If that's the case, I'm gonna
I
have a
don't know. I
conversation.
don't know. The
Another
fence,
trigger
meaning the
word.
fence next to the,
Post office.
yeah, I don't know.
50.
He's got it
5400?
in this,
Yeah.
he's got it in next year's budget. He told her to budget it
Can't wait.
in the budget.
Where is it?
It's
54,
It's in the
40 or
wrong
something.
place. It's under
It's in
repairs
the-
and maintenance.
Yeah,
unless
it's in the
Valerie
repairs
moved
and
it.
maintenance.
Yeah,
And it shouldn't be $5,440.
yep,
Yes.
that's the one.
That really should be
In
under
building.
maintenance.
But can it wait?
Oh, I did move it.
5400?
That's a question you can ask Don
On Monday.
on Monday. You know, I would tee up all the questions you wanna ask him
I
about
got that
other
moved.
buildings.
Well, we have, I, that for the heat, definitely, I know about the heat with that, figure that out.
Right? So
I think the problem
we
with
can
this,
tell him to be prepared
this
to
fence thing
discuss
is not, it's not the fence. It's the fence is preventing people from parking there because when they park there, there's no grass there anymore, it's all dirt. And it gets, cause people pull in the way they pull in and now it's a big rut. And they're actually, it's a liability
And
issue
the
at this point.
pavement,
The
like,
pavement,
falls
like
off.
there's a big
No more
step
shoulder.
You're
between,
breaking
There's no
the,
support.
so there's
you're
no,
breaking
there's
the
nothing
edge
there,
of the
so
pavement.
it's only to clean up a liability problem. That's really what it's for. So I don't necessarily think that it's a bad idea to put it in to fix that problem. Now, you could fill it with rocks and stuff, but people are just gonna park there even more. So that's why the fence is there, so that people will realize that, oh, I can't park there anymore because I have to walk all the way around anyway.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, I get
It's a
why
liability
the
issue,
fence
that's why
is
it needs to be
there,
fixed.
but
Yeah.
We've done without it for a very long time.
So leave your notes to talk to
Yeah,
Don
I mean,
about on Monday,
I'm
'cause
sure we can,
he'll be here to do buildings.
Yeah, Don knows.
I'm just gonna say and fence.
Can we just put up some sticks and some string? A couple
No.
hundred.
I got tons of baling twine.
Right?
I got T-posts and the pounder.
I got all that too, yeah.
I'll
Okay.
give you guys 4 T-posts
Say.
and a handful of
All
baling
right.
twine.
Well, alright, I'm gonna put interns and fence.
Hey, you
That's
make
what
it
my house
out, you
looks
make it
like.
out of barbed wire, people are not gonna be too likely to drive into it,
Mhm.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, and then as far as the intern goes, the conversation really revolves around hours of operation.
Right.
Maybe that solves other,
Well,
It's a
is
tease
it
as
our
well.
place to tell her when to have the library open
you
or
just
not?
said before that she's open 6 more hours without asking anybody.
I know.
Well,
Well, I mean,
so-
so
Well, and it makes me concerned about this year's budget because of that too. Right?
meaning
So
what?
what
Like, we
6
didn't
hours would
budget.
she open more?
An hour later every night, I think.
Because they were always like staggered.
Yeah,
So I
but
don't really understand what the
10 to
extra hours are.
7 and
Yeah,
then
we got 10 to 5 and 10 to 5 on
right,
Monday.
and 10 to 7.
10 to 5 for Tuesday is East Haddam Free closes at 5.
I
I don't know
thought-
what the old hours
And
were.
I
Rathbun
thought they were
at
only
7.
open late once a week, or
Before.
I could be wrong, but I thought.
I don't know what the before was.
I don't know.
I wanna say, I almost have it in my head that Tuesday, Thursdays. And Tuesdays, one of them was open till 7.
Yeah, that's
and
what I
then
thought.
Thursday,
and
the
then
other one was open
it wasn't.
No, well, I'm looking at their schedule right now on their website.
Yeah, that's where we got it from, but that's the new one. That would be a current one.
Right,
That could be post 6 hours.
Right, so that's what I'm saying, where did,
I don't know.
I could've sworn they were open like every other night before,
But she
I don't
said
know
we're
for sure.
open more. She actually
Right,
said
so
that.
where's the open
I
more?
think each library was open late one night a week. That's what I think
Kinda what I
was
remember.
Maybe,
happening.
maybe, I don't remember. I don't remember. I just wondered what was the change in extra hours.
I think
Yeah, and
that's
I
what
think-
it was.
Well,
I think my
And you know what, it's not a big deal if you're, like, we did it at the dump, right? We changed the hours of the dump, but what we did is we added more hours at the top and the bottom for one day and took them away from another day, so that the hours were the same.
Yeah, you
they were
didn't
kinda
add,
the
you just
same.
shifted them,
We didn't just
right?
add
Yeah.
hours, I mean, she's already got a problem with staffing as it is, she said she has had. She said she's had this problem with staffing. And then they opened 6 more hours, times 2 buildings, which is 12 hours,
And
right?
again, we're
It's
not.
6 each library, so you're talking about 12 more hours to cover with staff that you don't have enough to cover the staff you already have.
I think it's also important to say that we're not suggesting that we cut anybody's increase either.
Right.
Cause there was more than the 2.5%.
Right, there are certain
There's
positions that
certain
were pegged
positions that she wanted
for
to bump up, we're not,
equity
Well-
increases.
I'm not suggesting anything to do with that. I'm
Well,
just-
some of this is giving somebody 5 more hours.
Yeah, that's Joe, because according to Dawn, when I talked to Dawn about this, library hours, she said last year's budget, they cut Pat, like
Back by
they
5.
they cut her by 5.
And we
But
talked to
kept her-
Joe about his
but
hours.
But they didn't
kept
take
her
the
salary, and we didn't give her the 2.5. We left her flat. And we cut her hours. So she just wasn't in the building as much, we got the same pay.
Oh, but she got the same pay.
But she didn't get the 2.5.
So technically, she got an increase to work less hours. That was smart.
And then Joe's at 30 hours,
Did we,
and they wanted to bring him to 35 so that both branch managers
are at 35?
are at the same level. 35 hours.
Joe's the one that goes in 2 hours before the place opens and works and gets paid.
And are they hourly? I can look it up. Why would I ask? Yeah. So
Why are
then,
you asking Linda? She doesn't have.
I
it.
don't know, 'cause she
Payroll.
knows everything though.
Payroll.
So it's always worth asking Linda first.
Yeah, I don't know, I just know that they wanted to bring Joe up 5 hours to equal the amount of hours the other branch manager had, so
And
they'd be
I remember my
equivalent.
conversations
But I don't even know
originally
if they
with
get
him.
paid
He
the
didn't
same
want
per
that.
That's what I was
raise.
just gonna ask you, do they get
No.
paid the same?
So,
No,
No, they don't.
No.
and I don't know why that, to me it would be
yeah, they are hourly.
the same hours, same pay, you know? Cause they primarily stay in their own libraries, they are the.
They don't switch around.
They don't
yeah.
switch, like some of the other staff goes back and forth.
They're hourly.
And that's the thing is that if there's, not that I'm suggesting more hours, but if they're 35 and she's open for 43, then that's where she's filling in those extra hours, trying to keep 3 people in there.
Not if he shows up 2 hours before his shift.
Yeah. So are we paying more on him than we budget for?
There's my point. These are really,
That's
you
what
think
I-
about,
yeah.
they're really a salaried position.
Right, they could be.
Interns should be hourly, stuff,
Mhm.
technicians maybe should be hourly, but I don't know.
The library budget has historically on salaries always gone over every single year.
But I don't see an overtime line.
There's not, it just goes into regular employees, we don't budget for it, cause we don't budget for overtime, cause theoretically nobody works over 40 hours.
The only time that happened was when Joe was filling, they had no branch manager, or no. I think they had no
No director.
director, and the branch manager for East Haddam Free, something was out on medical or whatever, so Joe kind of filled in, and they were filling in as director too, so there was overtime during that time period.
And I think we just kind of paid him like time fixing
Sometimes
that.
he was getting 40 hours, you know, like to fill in.
But it was okay, cause
And
we
then
had
drop
no
back to-
director,
right,
so
and then
financially
drop
it was
back,
okay,
so-
yeah,
Now we got Lori filling in as interim,
yeah.
so there's been a lot of transition there too between
Directors.
directors. We've had, since, as of the 20th of this month, we have been in this building 7 years. As of last Thursday. And we've had, since we moved in 7 years, we're on our 3rd director.
Of
With an
the
interim in
libraries,
there as well.
with an interim in the middle, yeah, so like 4 people.
Michael Gilroy was here when we first moved in. Didn't know what we had. Lori and then.
Okay, so we're gonna possibly cut the interns, the fence and the heat.
No, we're not cutting the heat.
Maybe we should, and then maybe some of them will retire, cause it's too cold.
can't cut the heat. I didn't like that last
Can we
year at
cut
all, I
the,
felt that that was not, I didn't like
other
it.
unscheduled, since we don't,
Just kidding on the heat.
or can we lessen the other unscheduled?
What's other unscheduled?
I don't know,
Unscheduled, what's
it's says it's under under repairs and maintenance.
Oh,
Almost all the way
like-
down.
Like breaks and,
It
I mean,
says the plumbing,
right.
electrical, one window, it's at 5770, can
Right.
we?
it's for 2 buildings, old buildings for breaks and emergencies.
I know, but can we,
Oh,
it's
I
sort of a
know.
contingency.
I'm
coming
worried
in there,
about
they have
that, it
plumbing
is,
issues?
yeah.
that we're constantly calling the plumber in for,
I feel like if we base that off of actuals, we'd blow that
in
line
those
item right out of
buildings,
the
I would
water.
never take that out,
Okay,
my opinion.
okay. Do we have actuals on them?
Should,
What do you- let's
Not the
see.
actual list.
Yeah, it's all lumped into building maintenance.
It's
You'd
all
have
lumped
to-
in it, I'd have
you'd
to like not
like,
the per,
There's no, like, they made their
building.
own lines here
for detail,
for details, so,
but I can look up the actuals for the whole budget.
right, and then we'd have to count, like, okay, what's our plumbing, what's.
No, I mean, so
Well, to Tanya's point, we could
in
take the
24, we
5,400 out
budgeted
for the
15,000 for that whole kit and caboodle,
Say that
and
again?
in 24, we budgeted 15,000 and we spent 16 too.
For that line item.
Yeah, this year-
54301?
Yeah, this year we're budgeted 10,000 and we're already at 8,500.
That's not in here, that info's not on here.
Well, you're not gonna have 25 actuals because we only report the 25 budget, and you have 24 actuals on there, don't you?
yes.
Yeah.
We do?
Yeah.
Oh, but on here, yeah,
Yeah.
on here, no, on here.
16,304.
Yeah, on
In
here.
23, you were at 18.
Correct.
Yep.
And then it was 15, so it's up there to keep those buildings.
Refresh my memory. Did we do all the windows?
No,
I know that was a huge one.
we worked
That's
on
my
it, we
question
decided
for-
not to do them all and just to take care of them one by one
Once.
when they need it. Cause it's no sense in doing it
But
when
my
we're gonna put
question
them-
was that's still in capital as,
The boiler.
pending, no, the
Oh,
windows.
oh,
Pending
pending
resubmission.
resubmission, the
Nothing's
windows.
been done.
So we're
Um,
assuming it's,
and
we're
then
gonna keep
If we're
on
gonna
the,
handle it on a one window at a time basis, where's the cost of those windows? Where's the cost of at least one window a year? Where is that? I did not, that's a Don question.
That's a good question.
What was the plan and what, you know,
Right.
and where, if you do a window this next year, where you paying it out?
Right. Ah! I have an
Well,
idea.
apparently out of that line,
No.
because that's why for the
Absolutely
last 2 years
not.
you've been over budget.
I know
No,
exactly what Don's thinking.
I know where Don
I hope he's
tell me that.
listening right now.
Don and Irene will both tell me, say, oh,
Maintenance
maintenance fund.
fund.
We
And I
just
say
get around
no.
there all the time with the maintenance fund. Like, what do we
It
need?
teases me
Oh,
about
we can
that.
ask Linda for the maintenance fund.
So Don just adds a 0. So it's fine.
Yeah. And Don doesn't really like, the best part is he doesn't really have a real budget. He
if
just
you-
has all these little buckets in everybody's buildings. So
And I
just-
give him
that's why you
more,
get to add a 0.
I also give him more credit than
Do we
to sit
have
and
an
watch this meeting.
actual,
What'd you say?
I give him more credit than to sit and watch this meeting.
Yeah.
do we have an actual on the library endowment and trust income?
Yeah, 80,000 works. That's good.
It is, cause last year in 24, they got 83.
Yeah, but it's so. It's
then we
part
got
of the
Library
is the
fees
reading
have gone
room.
up to 30,000? Is that a misprint? Is that a Don misprint?
What is the
Look at library
I
fines
see
and
that,
fees, 30,000.
900%.
oh Jesus.
Can't imagine that's true.
Was it $3,000?
3,000.
Probably
Oh,
3,000.
Alright, let me look at revenue, hold on.
So their revenue lines is a
Yeah,
little
they're not
messed up.
making 30,000 on fines.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
boy, they,
Wow,
boy, they,
Nobody
talk
would
about
take
your
a look at it, they'd be
crackdown.
afraid.
So here's something else, on their conference side, they're adding another $1,000 in, I imagine maybe to take the branch managers or somebody else with her to the CLA conference. You know, that'd be lovely, but you know what, guess what? you've got more important things to pay for, then, you know, maybe we cut something there as a possible. I know it's a little, but between that, the fence, I mean, I'm trying to see how do we pay for the people, you know, how do we pay for the hours?
Because the year before, like if you look at the 25 budget, they had 600 in the annual CLA conference, and then they had 1,000 in the staff development library course
God,
at
yeah.
college.
30,000.
So that made the 16, and then in the 26 budget year, the 16 all just went into one line. So there's really no increase, it's just 2 lines got combined. Cause you've got a negative and a positive, you know, in the budget change that negates each other out.
Okay, but there's still 1,000 there that we could,
So to your point, maybe we're doing her work for her.
Yeah, right.
If we say we're gonna scrap the 2 people for the 20 grand, it's really up to her really, does, you say like it's her job to do the operations, maybe she should pick and choose which part of the operations. If she wants to defend those two positions, that
under 20,000 elsewhere.
you let her find it instead of us picking stuff that maybe she's not willing to part with. I don't know, I'm just.
Right. I mean, we can certainly do that and just say, no, we just don't have the money for the interns. Call it a day. I'm not worried about the fence, I'm not worried about the heat. What do y'all think about that?
I fixed the 30 grand.
You're going for the 25 instead of the 20.
No, I mean, that's, I just,
25, 440, is that what you're looking
Yeah,
at?
I think that's what she was thinking.
I
Well,
don't,
even with taking 20, she still has a $33,000 increase to the library budget.
Yes, yes,
It's still a lot.
yes it is.
I just don't see why both, again, if one is open at 10 to 7, I don't, or 10 to 5, I don't know why the other one needs to be open 10 to 7. I mean, I
Valid
guess
question.
technically that's her decision to make, but
Valid question.
I remember you posed that last year and the response was, cause I remember saying that people have their preferred libraries. I just remember it.
you listen, when the dump schedule changed, my husband was all fired up, he got over it. I mean, you know, things happen.
People get over things.
It's not like we don't have any.
Yeah.
It's not like we're not closing our, you know, like reducing the hours on the one library we have.
Right,
We still
right.
have one available.
Yeah,
You might not like having to go there, but
Maybe you'll learn to like it. Maybe you'll embrace it.
exactly. Maybe you'll see some new things on your way.
Open your world.
But would that, you know, and that might maybe reduce electricity or something slightly.
That too.
Right, that's
2
the
more
thing too,
hours, you
the
have
heat
to
and the
have the
electricity
heat
of those
on
old
at
buildings.
68 and the light, all the lights on and.
Yeah, she's planning on turning over the one intern that works for her now, being paid by the Ray Board. Supposedly that funding is ending.
Yeah.
Like the end of this month.
What?
So-
Really?
Yeah, I mean, cause she planned on hiring that person, as a per diem worker, because she had per diem workers on the list. And out of the 3 per diem workers, only 1 is left, and she hardly is available to work. So she was gonna put this intern in the per diem, and I have all the employment letter on everything all ready to go. I'm just waiting for a start date, and that she said she would know because she thought the funding was ending the end of February.
I'm just so nervous because if she did make this 6-hour change in this budget and we didn't account for it in hours, and we're
We
already.
keep saying 6 hours, but is it 6 hours per library?
Or whatever the change and
Obviously.
increase in hours, like I'm not sure that we,
Is it 3 hours or is it 6 hours?
I'm worried and concerned we didn't budget for the increase either.
No, we did not. Not that I'm aware of.
We did a lot of work last year to get salaries where they should be. I remember we were trying to retain somebody, giving them more hours, more salary.
That was Anastasia, who's now the
Children's librarian.
But I don't remember.
Yeah, she also wants to give her another $6,700. It's a
So
big
it's-
increase, 19%.
That's what I'm saying, we're not, at least I'm not trying to suggest that, if she wants to bring up the salaries to be equitable for everyone, that's fine, but again, I guess if you haven't hired anybody yet, I think it's harder to get rid of people once you've made that position,
Right.
so.
I'm gonna pull it up right now.
What are you pulling up?
You guys talked about it.
When did she start?
I'll tell you in a minute. Come on. Alright, she started April 23rd, 2024. And it was $22 per hour.
Who's this?
Yes,
The
the
children's
children.
librarian.
And her thing says. Rate for the full-time position is 35 hours per week. So do 22 times 35.
She was only budgeted for 20. 770.
So if you do 22 times 35 hours a week, times that by 52 weeks.
40040.
And isn't that about
1041.
times that by yeah, 41041 is what was budgeted in 26. Cause that's what she was hired at. 35 hours a week times $22 an hour. And that's what the 26 budget is. That's not even giving her a 2.5.
It's given her exactly 2.5.
Okay.
But the 67 is doing it on what we budgeted for that librarian
25.
position
What's
At
67?
2025.
in 25
Just the increase that's showing.
at 22 hours.
So there was a higher happen there, so
at
it's not really
$22
that.
an hour at 30 hours.
Right.
Yeah, but that's
This
not
is $22.40, which is the 2.5 increase at 35 hours.
correct. That's
it's
what
not
the offer
really-
letter says, so that's
Even
what
though it says 19.6,
35
it's
or
really
30.
not.
35. Her offer letter says.
So she's is
your
currently
regular work
working
week will be
35.
35 hours per week.
So we haven't
Your
budgeted for
hourly
that
rate will
either.
be $22 per hour. That's what was agreed upon before she hired, and then she talked to you guys before we hired her.
Right.
You know, on what to pay her, so that's your 41, so when you say 19% increase, they're not giving her, I mean, that's what she was hired at,
They're not, they're, yeah.
that's what she was hired at.
But we budgeted last year
didn't budget
for
for the position.
34, right?
Right, but that was before she took that position. That's over a year ago. So
Yeah,
that
but we were
has
building
nothing-
this budget so she could take that position, so we could retain her.
Understood,
But
So I
she
don't
was in a
understand
done
different
after-
capacity position at the time. She
Right.
made less money, she was making like
Yeah,
$18
yeah,
an hour, and she
Right.
was working 14 hours a week.
yeah.
It was to give her more hours in her reference librarian position or whatever
Right,
position
and
she
so
had,
there
and
is a
then
position
she
here.
applied for the children's librarian job. And then she was hired at $22 an hour for 35
So,
hours a week.
the reference librarian, the 510, well, actually, they're all the same.
Yeah.
The one right underneath her is probably that 27, probably went back into her.
Yeah, like I say, I don't know what job she had before, I don't recall. Whether she was she might have been a technician.
So we have to leave that alone.
She could have been the technician.
Yeah, I just have
But I'd
concerns
say
about
that's
the
what-
current.
That's what you
Budget.
hired her for, so.
Right.
That's what you
Yeah,
So
that's
you're
fine.
not really
Yeah,
taking something away, it's just taking
It's
away
just the
money that you
interim.
already
yeah.
guaranteed this summer, not guaranteed, but nobody's
Right,
guaranteed,
right,
but
right, right, right,
Okay,
what you was hired for.
right.
so at this point, we're just looking at the interns, as we said 20 minutes ago.
Maybe the fence.
Maybe the fence.
Just feel like there's a faster, cheaper, easier way to
Yeah, I
keep
mean,
it.
how long is this fence?
It's
We
not.
have the fence already.
We do?
We do have the fencing already.
So why is it $5,000?
Because in order to install it, you have to dig holes and
And it's like
pour
through concrete? Yeah, my little fence pounder won't work.
It's not cheap.
It's not
and
cheap.
It's, a lot of it is insulation versus,
Listen, if it's $25,000 to put up a volleyball net,
yeah, $5,000 fence, nothing. That's, how many bags of concrete is that? 3 a pole?
I don't know. I haven't seen any
6 poles,
specs.
18 bags of concrete.
Sorry, Lisa, if you're listening, I'm not making fun of it.
That's true.
Alright, so that's the library. Animal control, we already did.
Yep.
So we're good
Yes.
there, so we have finished
That's the
reviewing
most complicated budget we have.
218, right?
Well, that's cause there's so many,
Yeah, ins and outs,
because
outs and
everybody,
ins
you
and-
can't like judge it, like, okay, you're 40 hours, you're 40 hours, you're 40 hours.
Yeah, no,
So
Do we
it's
wanna
like,
take
oh,
some
you
more
work
time to
12
do some more
hours,
now,
you work
or do you want
6
24?
hours.
Sure, no, I would rather, if
Yeah.
I'm already sitting, my butt sitting down, I'd rather.
So do you wanna go to 219 budgets that we went through and review those?
Why are you looking at me?
I'm just looking at you.
Yeah, sounds good.
She's like,
Get
I
as
wanna
much
get out
done
of
as
here.
you
I
can.
know, that's what I'm
I'm
feeling.
just not, I'm not saying that, I'm just not.
Sure, where are we starting?
Go.
Fire department, I think is first. Fire department, redevelopment agency and ag.
Oh, yeah, the huge ag commission.
You wanna start with ag and get that done, and over with?
I'm considering it done.
Ag commission?
Ag commission all set.
I think,
Already set that.
yeah.
I know you wanted to give them like a 100% increase.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should give them some sort of merit performance, cause they don't actually spend the money. Just kidding.
No, right? They are true to putting the money back in the general fund. Gotta love them.
Okay, so fire department,
Fire department.
So we have to
No
confirm.
hoses.
No hoses. We have to confirm with them as far as the radios and pagers.
Oh yeah, where was that?
So that's the last page.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah,
just.
so they've got 10,000 in here for radios.
So if Craig is truly taking care of that, then we should be, like he said, if you're selling a truck, you should be just taking the radio equipment out of there.
Did you also get an answer on their gear? Because they have a $50,000 gear grant.
Yeah, I think they still spoke to that.
Yeah, I don't know if we
believe
talked
they-
about it when they were here. But they
Yeah, I
have.
don't recall that we talked to them about gear, but they
Maybe.
had it flat from last year.
I remember him mentioning about the gear, how many, somebody asked the question like, how much gear
With
do you
air
go
packs, we were talking about air packs
We were
and
talking
how
about their
many
capital.
bottles they're gonna need and stuff like that, but I just keep reiterating that they have a $50,000 gear grant that we do have to spend.
Right, so I did have a conversation about the grant that they got was for 12 gear sets. And they technically need 2 sets per person.
And that's the new thing,
So as much as 12 helps, we
it's
have
not
almost
gonna.
50 people.
Well, and I guess too, the other point I'm remembering is that the grant, even though they're only giving you, they're giving you
It
50,000.
doesn't cover for like
You are
helmets and
required
boots
to have 12. It's not like you could buy 8 because it's only 50 grand.
Right.
You're required to buy 12, so if it costs you 70,000, the town has to find the 20 to.
buy the rest
So
of it.
maybe that money should stay there whenever we're ready to utilize that grant.
Yeah, and it's flat from last year, like the uniforms is flat from last year.
You caught that.
Did.
But we still, I mean, honestly, we're still looking at over $200,000 increase.
Your page though, you don't have a new page, cause remember the 96,000 was in there.
which 96,000?
Oh,
right.
The
Part-time, alright, so we're
Yeah,
not,
so you need a new page, let me start
So
keeping
that's-
track of new pages
that's out of
with you
there.
guys.
but
but
it's still-
we're still doing an increase.
Yeah, we're
in-
still at 100,000 increase.
I can't do that, it's.
Well, no,
Yeah.
once
It
we
asks
shove
for
this-
increases on the,
So new,
on the
so
regular,
today I can get them new pages for.
Right.
But
correct,
the library,
Fire.
you have something's wrong.
Yeah.
which I get.
No, for no
Can you say that
sense.
again, Eric?
He was asking, he still asked for an increase, I didn't,
Actual
she's right, I
budgeted
didn't catch
25,
the,
budgeted 26.
The 96
The
out of there.
96.
Budgeted
Right.
difference.
Oh, you're gonna
But-
extra change in there
You
for
got
some
an
reason.
you
extra,
did say you wanted to increase the
extra,
full-time
and they don't match,
personnel
they're not
to
the same
recruit.
numbers.
They're doing different
more
math.
qualified.
Right,
Right, right,
I'd say
Yeah,
we
qualified
can't
just
get
to
'em.
get
Yep.
people to
It just rolls over.
apply, I
To
guess.
apply,
Right,
yeah.
right.
This year, it added all these columns.
And fill the
Yeah.
schedule during the
Can
day,
do
66, which we have not
We
been
have
able
an
to do
extra
for
column.
over a year.
Fix that.
an extra dollar change column.
It's probably like last year's or something, doing weird math. But everything else is.
And then same for the,
Yeah, I gotta get you guys a new printout for fire and libraries.
so for the firefighter, EMTs, full-timers, there's, the 41 is there. Right? The part-time lieutenant, why is that listed as,
Cause it was a $1,500 stipend position and
Oh,
now
that's
they're
right. So
increasing
we're-
it to make it a position.
right, but it's, the money's the same, so that's why
No.
there's no, there is an increase to that.
It's a new thing. Basically a new thing, cause right now we used to just pay the 1,500 stipend. So remember they are trying to get people in more
Okay,
and make it
okay.
so more hour people come in
No,
the building more.
So, I understand what you're saying, and so let me just do the Irene math head thing. The part-time lieutenant has always been there, and he has made X amount of dollars an hour, whatever that X amount of dollars
No,
was.
it's a $1,500 stipend,
Just
that's
let me
it.
finish, just let me finish.
Oh, him,
Plus
yeah, but then he gets
15.
that stipend.
He
Right,
gets-
right.
so he's
for the
getting,
memorandum
he's
of
a part-time, I almost wanna say he's one of the per diems at this point still, I think.
Kinda, right, yeah.
So he's a per diem firefighter, EMT, that gets paid an extra $1,500 to be the lieutenant.
Mm-hmm.
Which, to be honest with you, and I've said this openly many times, that I don't think an officer should be a part-time person, at least in our paid staff. What they do on the volunteer side, I can't speak to that, I mean, it is what it is. But if somebody is part-time, I don't understand how they can be in charge, but whatever, it's
But
more
bring
of
it
like,
Well, yeah, the
functional.
director's about to be that same, yeah.
what'd you say?
the director position's gonna be part-time, and he's gonna be.
Yeah, but it's, this person's, he's not an officer within the ranks. I see him more on a town staffing level service. At which point, I was gonna say, could we throw him into the shared services, but not, okay, never mind. Anyways, so he was already one of our firefighters.
Correct.
Making, so he really isn't another one.
Right, it's just
So he really should
increasing,
be in
bulking
this
up.
part-time,
Kind of just breaking it out.
he should
It's
really
breaking it
be-
out.
yeah, but he should really be down here in the firefighter EMT line as opposed to a separate line.
I want more we want more detail so we can remember these conversations, you know what I
Oh,
mean,
I
like, you know?
Okay,
Because
cause it
how many
looks
It's
like,
easier to have more
how many
detail.
it
hours
looks
does
like
that
he's
even
part of an increase and he's really not. Well, he is, but
It's
he's,
like we're taking from one to put to the other.
is that why
right?
the part-time is less 9,000?
Well, yes, and because
Yeah, but he
he's
didn't
saying
get that
if he
much.
has that part-time lieutenant and we get fully staffed, we would need less part-timers. That's what the theory is,
That's why that $1,500 goes away.
correct?
Okay.
Cause you're gonna combine, to your point, that part-time position and that 1,500 into the lieutenant, and then you'll need less part-time help.
Yeah, but the lieutenant's still part-time though.
Right. But you'll need less coverage of part-time help. And then less overtime, you know what I mean, all that they were hoping.
I just wanna be sure that that's not being
Doubled somewhere.
doubled somewhere, yeah.
So we did the part-time calculation like on shifts, as usual, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Let me go to, cause he has all that paperwork he gave us. All those documents that explains it. I don't have it in front of me, the stuff that Chris gave us.
Yeah, that's fine,
He's-
that's fine.
he
I just-
explains
like I
it
said,
all
I
in
just
there.
wanna be sure that we're not looking at
Double of that,
doubling up
yeah.
of the same person,
right, dollar amount wise.
right? He's getting a small bump, it looks like he's getting a large bump and he's not. He's getting a small bump.
Because they didn't know, the commissioners
And
didn't
then the
know.
firefighter full-time EMTs, they're getting the majority of the bump to pay to get people in here.
So you're saying by increasing the fee, we're not gonna do the stipend?
Correct.
Correct.
Stipend will go away. And they say it'll be a more attractive position, and even if that person doesn't do it, they would be able to get somebody in to do that.
Right.
So that.
But that also shows a progression for people, that's another thing that we don't really have here, cause we're not big enough yet in the paid side, is that there's at least a progression if
The
somebody comes
growth,
in here, yeah.
right?
If somebody comes in here as a firefighter EMT and shows extra whatever, then maybe he could move into a lieutenant position if the lieutenant position is open at the time. The other thing that this does too is the lieutenant that we currently have can make more money at his present job, so he's not here a lot and he's not taking a lot of shifts. And again, that's why I think he's still per diem.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
we did make a change to their contract a year ago that said that we are not hiring any more per diems because part of the problem, I mean, we have been working on this staffing thing since I got here. And part of the problem is that the per diems make X amount of dollars an hour, and if they stay where, and usually a per diem guy has another job, like he works at another station somewhere and he works full-time hours. So if he stays at his place, then he can make much more money to stay and extend his shift at his current firehouse that he works in, Bristol, wherever, Meriden, wherever. And he just calls back and says, I'm not coming in today. And then we have- it's so hard. So
Yeah.
what we did with the contract is we said, no more per diems, we're done with per diems, cause we just can't do it. Part-time firefighters have to work, I wanna say 2 shifts a week. So they have to work 2 shifts a week to be a part-time firefighter here in East Haddam. So that is a rule, so that they work, so that they're here and we can count on them. In other words, they can't beg off their shift because they're making more money. If you're coming here as a part-time person, you have to take 2 shifts a week. Whether you take them today when you're scheduled, or you beg off today and come back in tomorrow, whatever it is, but you have to work so that we can fill the schedule and keep it
Right.
whole.
Yeah.
So that's another thing we did. Obviously, it's not enough, that's why we have to increase the rates, so that's why we have an increased rate. So at this point, I wanna say we only have 1 per diem left, and it's our lieutenant. So, our captain has said that he has had conversations with our lieutenant, and if he gets this increase in rate, we get rid of the stipend and just give him an hourly rate
That's
increase,
right, what I remember,
he
yeah,
will
yeah.
come
Or
and work 2 to 3 shifts a week. Cause it makes it worth his while to come in. And again, that also speaks to hiring people. There's a few people in the wings that have said they'll come if it's this rate. So we might be able to fill our schedule within the month if we can decide to do this. We have a lot of extra money left over in payroll right now for this year to end. So some of these people actually come ahead of next year's budget, so we can get them in sooner than July 1. That's another thing, is we can get it fully staffed even before then, but I said don't hire anybody until I know that I can plan on it for July. So it's no sense hiring somebody now and then firing them on July 1st.
yeah.
I said, don't do that. He's like, okay. So all of these pieces are in place to get this place where it's fully staffed. And it has to be fully staffed because of the EMT issue, guys. Period. Because now what's happening is East Haddam Ambulance Association is coming in and backfilling some of the hours. And it's not filling up an entire day shift, it's filling like the 4:30 to 6 or the, to 8 kind of a thing. Like it's usually on the ends of the hours depending on when the other people can get here. So it's not really filling in a whole day, it's filling in a couple hours here, a couple hours there. But it is happening, which is fine. But at the same time, if we can fully staff it, this is gonna make a difference, big difference.
So is that part-time lieutenant figure, is that salary? Or is that
accounting for a certain number of hours? At 37,128.
I don't remember
paid
it was hourly.
Yeah.
Yep. Because
Yeah, so that can obviously fluctuate, and
So how
generally
many-
it's gonna go down.
So what's the rate for how many hours or like what is that reflect?
34?
what did I wanna say it was
34 an hour?
34 an hour, so divide that by 34 and then if you say it, maybe I'll remember it. Cause I don't have the documents in front of
I
me.
think I'm gonna divide that in my head.
What is it? What's the numbers?
I can,
Now you don't have to do it in your head. I use a calculator all the time. Everyone's like, you must be really good at math. I'm like, oh, I have a calculator.
Yeah, but the Texas Instruments one doesn't work anymore.
The what?
Texas Instrument one doesn't work anymore.
The what one?
Texas Instrument.
Oh, Texas Instruments? Why?
it's about 20 hours a week.
That's, you said you're.
20 hours a week, and that's like
Sorry.
2 shifts, because they're 10-hour shifts.
Okay.
So why? I really
Thank
like it.
Okay,
Irene Math strikes again,
You did
2
it.
shifts a week,
2 10-hour shifts.
2 10-hour shifts, that's what they were.
So 20 hours, is that what yeah, I think I remember that, yep.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see here. Hold on, I gotta get you a new fire department one and I gotta get this out of here.
So I will tell you, that in talking with Chris, which is, Chris and I are the ones who've been talking about this for months, to try and figure out a way to fix this. He did not put in for the $14,000 raise. Sounds like a lot, it's really not, he's so underpaid. He also said, don't give me a raise, just give it to the guys, give it to the lieutenant and give it to the full timers because we need them and we need them desperately. He goes, I'm here for another 12 years. I don't think that's right. I think he should be making more money than the rest of the guys. He's
Yeah.
making $1 more than the lieutenant.
yeah, that's the
So
same
that's
thing
how
that happened.
underpaid he is now.
The first selectman salary, we had a first selectman here that said, I'm not taking any money raise. Give it to
And you
the
never get it
staff."
back, that's the
And
problem,
then
yeah.
The position did not keep up with
The demands of,
did
yeah,
not keep up with
like,
inflation and
yeah,
and everything,
COLA.
because that position stayed low.
That's what we're doing. That's right. But so what I did was I gave him $1 more an hour than the lieutenant. And then the paid firefighters are, let's see, it's 35, 34, 30,
32,
32,
32,
and then 30,
28?
28 for the part-timers, that's right. 28, 32, hey, the fact that I have
I can't
any
say
of them
words,
in
but
my
I got numbers all day long.
And then the EMTs were gonna be 22.
They were gonna be 22.
Well, we probably don't need them. He's
The budget
thinking
for them this year.
we probably don't need to.
So I took them out, I'm gonna get you guys a new printout so you can look at actual bottom line.
So the EMTs in there, just EMT, I don't even think we had just EMTs. Oh, no, we did part-time EMT.
is it
That's 96, that's not there anymore. So that's where we are as far as pay scales for those guys. So 28, 32, 34 and 35. So, I mean, if you want, we could bring that down a little bit to 34.50. I mean, I don't know.
I'm not suggesting we mess with people's.
Okay. So let's hit the elephant in the room. Can I count on you guys to be okay with this EMT or this lieutenant? She's got it in there as public safety director. I don't mind calling it a public safety director. We could call it, I wanted to call it a director of emergency services because we have a director of emergency management. So an emergency management is managing an emergency like a big storm, et cetera, which is what Craig does.
But we also call that emergency management services, so they.
No, we call that emergency management.
The budget is emergency
it
management
is?
services, EMS, yeah, so it's super tricky,
Oh, okay.
so so.
That's why you use public safety director?
Yeah, probably,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm okay with it, it's fine.
I just wanna have too many acronyms everywhere that we're throwing, you know what I mean?
I honestly don't have an issue with it, short of making sure that, again, the position is going to do what you want it to do.
Right.
It's not a real alignment.
It's gotta be.
It's gonna have its difficulty, but I think it's gonna have difficulty depending on the personalities in the room.
So I guess that's what I'm saying is it's gotta have, I think you spend a lot of time, the first selectman shouldn't be spending so much time directing directors.
There are some that I don't have to.
Okay, so I guess my point is, at a part-time position, will they have enough teeth, I use this term all the time, will they have enough authority to do what you're desiring the position to do?
I feel honestly, and this is just me, okay, and you're gonna get a different administrator in here next time. I feel that a director level position has an expertise, whether it's building, whether it's land use, whether it's finance, whether it's whatever else. They have their expertise. The chief, the fire chief, that's his directive, that's what he's in charge of. The captain, because we have a hybrid thing, he's got his paid guys, he knows what needs to happen. He's got his expertise. The EMT, they have their expertise and that's a different expertise than the fire guys, it's totally different. And they all three have to somehow come together and work together. And because this one's smarter than this one this week and this one's smarter than this one, like that to try and meld that, which is what I've been trying to do, it doesn't work, So you need somebody with the expertise of all of that to come in and be able to understand it all, budget for it all, get them to work within partnership, and partnership could be as much as purchasing, right? You know, they gotta buy Band-Aids, everybody but's buying Band-Aids. Why are we not all buying Band-Aids together? Understandably, the ambulance is a 501c3, so they have to do things a little separately, but there has to be some continuity here and some kind of overall. And I think that all parties will see the value in getting somebody who can bridge those gaps. They just don't know it yet.
I would like to see like the details of exactly what this position is
The position.
gonna do, this new position, yeah.
Okay, I can get to that. I'm still working on the
I
qualifications
don't think I
for the
have
job.
enough really info like that.
Sure.
I'd like some more details before I formulate it.
Okay, I'll get you the job description and then.
And like, yeah, job description including like the 40, so like, I guess, the what I
Yeah,
wanna
the
call it, hierarchy or
Yeah.
I, come
There's a
on,
term. What's the term when you see a job?
uh,
Organizational chart.
Yeah.
org chart, yep,
So first selectman.
Yep.
Underneath the first selectman is
all your
the
directors.
emergency the emergency
wanna see the org
management
chart?
services guy, Craig,
Do you wanna
and
see the
then this
work?
person would answer to me.
It's
this
not
would
there
be-
yet.
Public safety director will be under me.
But I'd like to see like
And
exactly
then underneath him or
what they're
her,
handling versus what Craig is doing versus what
Absolutely,
Captain
that's,
is doing
this is a
versus-
side,
yeah.
this is an
okay.
accompaniment to what you're asking for, I think.
okay, sure.
Because I need to see how the commissioners report to that person? Does the ambulance
Nobody's gonna
association?
report to this person.
This is gotta be something.
This person almost reports to them.
And how are they the director?
So how does land use work with inland water, inland wetlands, whatever it is? And planning and zoning, like he's their staff person, right?
Glad you said it, cause I was thinking the same thing.
It's that kind of situation,
That's it.
okay, like land use, our land use administrator is the person who has the statutes, has the, you know, obviously the knowledge, the whatever, like he directs, he doesn't direct the inland wetlands, the conservation commission, the planning and zoning. They have their integral roles, but he's their staff person. This person is very similar to that, and that this person is the staff person, but this person also is the person who comes before us, just like land use is gonna come before us and tell us that this is a problem that's going on with our inland wetlands, or this is what's a problem going on with life, or this is what, so this person is that intermediary person. Does that make sense? Okay, that's
Okay.
fine.
That's the, yeah, that was the opposite of way I was just envisioning.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I need to see.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem with our fire department too. I have to say that depending on the week, when I go to the chief, he's the one who, he's all for it, and then the next week he's all against it, and like, you can't keep up with the wind over there. So to your point, you know, well, what happens if they don't like it? Well, they don't like it, they don't like it, but this person is there to help with the budgeting, help with the process, help with what training needs to be done. And the problem is that there has been a lot of problems between paid and volunteer. Not so much at the fires and when they're working together, but the overall structure and management of the whole thing. And obviously including it with the ambulance, there's a lot of rift there too. I think this person is gonna be able to smooth all that out.
That's why I like to, if I can
Yeah.
see it.
I will, I'll pull it all together for you guys and I'll give it to you the next time we meet. I'll have the organizational chart,
That
I'll
would be
have the
helpful
job
for me.
descriptions as to
This
what
is
they
an
do.
amazing person
He or she will be.
or she as
But
well.
I think that the thing about it is that, and again, to your point, for the last 4 years, I have been working this a lot. And I realize the level of expertise that I have for this, even after taking the EMR class, and even after all the deep dive that I've done and all of these things and all the people I've talked to and the regional meetings I go to in Hartford and Ambulance Association, like all of it. I don't have the expertise to be able to walk into the room to these guys and tell them that this is what I see and this is what we need to do to different. They're not gonna listen to me. They're just not. And we have a $500,000 budget that they're responsible for. You need expertise in the room. You need people who know about the hoses. You need to know about the bottles versus the masks versus this. Like, that person needs to be there, and this oversight is necessary, in my opinion. When you go into that firehouse and you see some of the things that you see, and some of the things you don't see, and some of the things you hear about, and some of the things you don't hear about, there needs to be somebody who can go in there and say, that's BS, that's not, we need to fix this, how about we fix it this way?
I don't
So that's-
necessarily,
There's a lot of that
Yeah.
that needs to happen.
I just need to
No,
see it
understood.
organizationally.
You will see it. I will bring it to you next time. Which is when, Monday?
Monday afternoon.
Yeah, we might as well just all hang out tomorrow and.
We'll just stay here.
I don't know that we have that much more to talk about. No. Alright, so other than the personnel issue, and I think at this point, personnel issue, where are we? Just with the director? I think, is everything else okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna reprint you guys a page right now.
I think so, Val.
It's a better bottom line.
Are you okay with the rest of it?
So again, everybody understanding we're replacing 4 trucks with 2.
No, I'm just talking about personnel right now.
Okay.
Other than,
Oh,
other
yeah.
than the director,
I
everything's
said my
fine.
piece before, yeah,
Okay.
I'm good with the.
Okay, alright, go. Is there anything else on their budget?
Well,
We're
I'm sure
operating.
there was a reason, but I didn't take a note as to why in-service went up $7,000. In-service training.
Training, they have to,
Is it because there's
Yeah.
more
they're gonna
staff
be doing a
or-
training, no, remember they're gonna be doing a training in our building and it costs more
And
money.
they never mentioned that the other day when they.
They didn't,
when
but
they-
Chris did,
He did?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so.
So they're doing, I think it's an officer training.
Yeah,
And the problem is that there's all kinds of trainings. There's firefighter 1, firefighter 2, all these trainings, and they do them all over the place all the time. As you go up in rank, they do less and less of them. And depending on where they happen, like there is an officer training in like Stanford, and it's like a 2-day training. And so it's almost cheaper to do your own training than have to send people down to Stanford and spend the night or what, I don't know what it is, but I think that's what's happening, and so because we're hosting it,
it's
that's
the
what that
hosting,
is.
yeah.
But I wanna say that when they talked about it the other night, they didn't bring up that, they brought up, but you said Chris did.
Chris did, but you're right, cause I was almost waiting for them to say that, but
And I didn't hear anything about the officer training.
No,
I'm just,
Yeah.
it's a substantial jump, so.
Yeah, and I think what it is that that's a fee that we have to host the training.
that's how Chris explained it.
That's what I thought. So that's hosting a particular training class. Which is a lot. But then people come to the training and then
pay
pay
for it?
for their portion of it.
Okay.
But we have to pay ahead of time.
Right, we have to get it set up, we have to.
So it might be offset
It could
somewhat?
be we could be offset, we gotta find out do they take that in?
Yeah, we'll.
We have to ask about that, I don't know, let's not
So
commit
other
to that.
people, you mean when you say
Yeah, like other people
fire
come from other
departments.
places, other
Yeah.
towns
They
that
gotta
come in
pay
and they
for the
take the class.
training, like you gotta pay for
So
the
that
send.
might offset
Correct.
us a little.
Maybe,
Yeah,
but let's
maybe.
not, yeah.
Alright, let me get you some new
And the repairs and maintenance, that's for the ambulance, and apparently,
Well, vehicles, all their vehicles, no fleet,
Vehicles,
that's our whole fleet.
Vehicles and equipment.
Yep.
And they
Yeah, the
have an
rest of it
aging
looks-
fleet, so they increased it.
There's no increase
Yeah.
anywhere else except for the only one that I have a question on is the radios.
the radios, that we have to ask Newt about.
Yep. Everything else stayed pretty much
I gotta
flat.
start making a list for Newt.
I've got my notes here.
Live interns, fence, heat. You got a list for me?
Yeah, I've got
Okay,
notes.
good, alright, I'm gonna rely on your list. Okay, and then capital, there are 2 trucks. To replace the 4 trucks,
And
that's a bond situation,
correct.
that's not, we're not paying that out of taxation. We got the air packs that we're gonna check on the rate, or the price for those.
Air packs, yeah.
Cause he's looking to replace 10 to 15 in 2 years, and then a couple more in 28.
Right.
And they've got 67.5 now in there, so we have to find out how much they actually need for 2027. Okay. Fire hose is 15,
Yeah, and they have, remember they
and they
have
have
like,
some that
they
they
have,
need to
like-
replace.
yeah, but they have like 50 grand in there.
Oh, so is it fire hose that we might be able to cut?
Yeah, let me get you balances in 1 minute. But remember we asked them,
We did, and that's why I have the notes, I didn't put anything in fire hose, but I did have it for the air packs. And fire hose, I didn't have any notes. And the wetsuits look like
You
we
talked
could
to one and
have
they
done
said
something
nothing.
there too, cause they said they needed 7.
Correct. They're about 230.
They need 4 at 2,000 at 8,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say, my notes said they have 7 in stock and they need to replace half of them.
Okay, so they need 4 at 8,000, so they may not need.
I don't like that, yeah, look what happens when you turn the page, it flips and like when it does like that,
Oh,
it keeps
you got
setting it back to that. I got tricked.
Okay, so we could, that might be a cut, right? To the wetsuits. We don't need 18 if they're only gonna spend 8.
Right.
So that's a capital cut, but capital nonetheless.
A lot of
We
taxation,
could
yeah.
cut it, and we could cut 9, we could cut it halfway. Possible.
It does that.
And then ropes and rappel gear,
Just a point of correction, he spelled repel wrong.
It's okay, one of our
Sorry.
librarian
I'm
reference
a grammar nerd, it's R-A-P-P.
remember the reference librarians?
Yes, the red lip.
I can't
I like,
change
that
it.
was like a whole
librarians,
word.
did it say librarians?
It says it says reference librarians, IANCE, librarians.
Oh, librarians.
Yeah, is that like past tense? I don't know, like, but I can't change it cause it's in a pending budget, I just tried to change it and it's like, no, you can't do that, I'm like, we're living with it for another year.
And ropes and rappel gear,
Cause I was gonna say, if there's repel gear, to actually repel things, like.
Oh,
like, what do they do with the old stuff?
Like, shh,
Exactly, like
repel.
repel it, like repel things. But this is rappel gear. I don't know what did we ask what they do with it?
All I have is, in my notes, I just have expiring after 10 years, and there's a rope and rescue.
We do have it. They haven't done much with it late, in
Right.
the past years, but.
So did they sound like they needed to replace it this year?
yeah, 'cause the ropes were like 10 years old.
They
or
were old, is that what it is?
expired. They're expiring. I remember him saying, yeah, you wouldn't think ropes expire.
Yeah, ropes, you wouldn't think
Oh,
ropes go
yeah.
bad, but they do, yeah.
Okay.
Do you wanna know about hose, is that what it was?
Oh, yeah, you're gonna give
Balances.
us a balance.
How much is the balance?
Yeah, I had it for the packs. Didn't have it for the hose.
Oh, don't yawn.
they have,
We're supposed to be putting 15 in. They didn't have to buy hose last year much
they only
hoses.
spent 11,000 last year, they haven't bought anything this year. They have $32,000 in hose.
They have a balance of 32.
Mhm.
They spent 11 this year.
No, 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 no,
They
no,
didn't
no,
spend
no,
anything
no,
this
no,
year.
didn't spend
Oh,
anything.
11
Don't do
last
it, you don't have to do math, that's what the balance is, 32.
No, I know, but I'm just putting last year they spent.
24, they spent 11, and 23, they
This year
spent,
they haven't spent anything.
yeah, in 23, they spent 23, but then 22, they spent $192.
$192 or $190?
Just $92.
Oh.
So,
Okay. So that might be overfunded a little bit. Okay, so that could be a possible cut. For capital.
do they have,
Or you do the same thing that you did for them last year, you have $50,000.
yeah, remember last
you
year when we got
decide
to the end of it, we were like, you have,
50, you have
We had 40
$40,000,
grand.
how do
how do you wanna fund it?
how do you wanna allocate it?
Remember, they put like 17 find a hoses, they put like 15 to thermal cameras, and they put the rest to whatever.
They decided how to allocate the amount that they were awarded.
Just one way to look at it, but that's when you get down to the end.
To the nitty-gritty.
Okay.
Nitty-gritty.
So if we did that, you're talking about like, again, this is for capital.
Yeah, because I wonder, cause what happened, remember last year was we got down to the end and the Board of Finance needed to make that resolution. And they couldn't
So
figure
what
out
way?
which capital
It's after
projects
the
to
Board of
fund.
Finance.
So they said, we're gonna give the town this much and we're gonna give the Board of Ed that much and fund your capital, guys.
Yep.
And that's how we balance
We
it
allocated
the
a
rate.
certain amount to the fire department and told them to allocate it to the to where they
Where
felt
you
it
wanna
most
put it.
important.
We don't need to tell you to buy hoses versus.
Right.
Repel.
Which
Again,
makes sense.
I honestly think that's, when we talk about that, where you say the person in the room with the expertise, I think, right?
It's them.
Yeah.
It's,
I don't wanna be choosing.
we know, when we cut something though, it needs to be maybe less,
So what they're suggesting is we just say, here's the money, you buy
Right.
more
I mean,
rope versus more
You
hose
tell us
versus more,
where, how you
pick.
want it to be allocated.
So we add all of those capitals together and say, we're gonna cut you by 10%, here's your
I
money,
mean, we
you
have to
figure it
ask
out.
the questions and blah, 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 whereas I don't think the Board of Finance does. The Board of Finance can be very black and white. Say, okay, just, I
Yeah.
want you to cut $100,000. You do it from wherever.
Okay,
So the ropes, there's no money in there right now?
Yeah, it's all a single year fund, I think.
I don't know, we didn't ask for that one, we can ask for it.
I didn't see it forecasted out into other years.
Yeah, me either, so I'm just verifying that that's.
Okay, redevelopment agency? I don't know what we're doing with this one. Did we figure out what's going on with their? I think we figured out that their purchase professional services should go back to 26.
I have 23.5. I don't know why. I don't remember.
And then-
So we were doing operating, half capital.
Yeah, but I
50 was
crossed-
going to capital.
50 to capital.
I crossed out,
It said leave the, I thought we said leave the 26 in there. Or was it 30 that Val said? And then all
It
the
was
rest go into a
26.
capital account for planning.
yeah, I have that note, but for some reason I didn't put down 26, I put down 23.
Yeah, 26, which was the original
Yeah,
from
yeah.
25.
Or maybe we were talking about take 50,000 out, which
I
would
think
be
that's what it
25.
was, and that's where I got the 23.
We were talking about that,
Oh,
put
okay.
50 in the capital
Capital.
amount.
Yep, that's what it was, Linda, yep.
Alright, we're a redevelopment agency, Val.
Okay, what's going on with them?
I think I just was trying to read my notes to figure out what we decided on. I think what we decided
Right, I
on
thought about, we talked about putting some of that money in capital.
50
Yeah.
capital.
Right.
In capital
Yeah,
and
so
then
that they
leave-
can keep it, because they
leave
keep
at least
running into this
25.
issue every
That
year.
leaves 23,500.
They keep running into this issue every year of requesting this money and not having the time to fund it, to utilize it.
Utilize it.
And the problem with redevelopment agency in the past, which is why, I mean, I'm glad Phil was on board with putting it in capital.
Yeah.
I thought they would turn around and say, oh, no, because the last time they put items in
Yeah, but he
capital,
gets the budget.
we decided to, or not we, you guys
ARPA,
decided to
though.
fund it in ARPA,
Yeah,
which had a time and
yeah, this one won't have a time constraint.
it'll be a lot, so they lost 75,000, they don't let us forget it. But they didn't spend it.
No. I know that you're looking at my socks.
Thank you.
I don't have a
Welcome.
pair of those.
I know you don't. Irene needs a pair of these.
What is that?
I'll show you in a minute. And then new libraries.
Alright, so that's a nicer number.
Yeah, I mean, it
132.
doesn't, it rarely comes
It's
down,
green.
right? There's your libraries too.
Like the other one did.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm gonna keep these so I can take notes.
Yeah.
How did we get from here to here?
Multiple iterations.
What's that?
A new library. Cause remember the water was in the sewer and.
I think that was the least amount. The water was from.
That's what I'm gonna always say that. Remember the water was in the sewer at the library?
Don't drink the water.
Sorry, folks.
They literally took the words literally, like, it says water, and we put our bottled water in there.
Where is the library? Oh, it's in 218, right?
Librarians. I'm just gonna call it librarians from now on.
I love that,
I like
it's a
that.
new word, librarians. I don't know if you created
Are
that.
there, what's the, well, no, someone
We
before
have
me
to
did.
ask about the roof at Public Works.
What's the
New.
plural of that?
That's a good
Librarians.
question.
I just saw it, so that's why I'm reminding us.
Okay.
Alright, yeah, so that brings that one down good.
To,
$2,000 less than we did.
oh, I mean, it just moves it from one
Good luck.
bucket to the other, it's not bringing it
Brings
down.
the operating down.
So,
library?
the issue is I'm gonna have to get with Bill and get the details on that capital request, so we
So the library's back like to 11%. Is that right?
yeah, I think so.
Is that where we were before?
Yeah, I don't think I changed any dollars, I just moved things to the appropriate budget
All this work for just 11%?
line items.
Mostly she wanted to get the water out of the sewer.
I had to get the water out of the sewer. Had to get the
Vehicle maintenance. and
vehicle
building
maintenance out of
maintenance.
there and the building maintenance.
Does it look better now?
I hope so. I couldn't fix the library. It's okay.
Alright, so are we good with the redevelopment agency?
Looks great.
Where it stands?
So we'll have to work on
Is there anything you wanna talk about from today? I think today we really didn't have much in the way of big issues.
No, I mean, I will show you new pages, I hope by Wednesday. But I still won't have the insurance rates, I can at least show you what it would look like with the 13%, you know what I mean? New pages for debt service.
So you'll do 13% on top of what the actual rate was.
Right,
this
which
year.
is like
So
almost still
really
in the
it'll be
dollar
similar-
amount
it'll-
of
it'll
what,
run just
yeah,
about
it's gonna
similar to
run
what it was
similar,
last year,
yeah.
cause last year's was a 15%.
It's 19.86.
Increase and it only went up 3, right?
So as far as libraries go, we don't have to worry about the 100,000 for the ambulance itself. That's coming out of
Board of
Board of
Finance.
Finance needs to worry about that, so we're not.
Right, we don't really have to worry about it at all, it's
Well,
up to them.
It's not
And I wanna
included in
talk more
this.
about like the functionality of it, it's, right, like,
The what?
I don't understand how it's really, the functionality of how it's gonna work. I mean, they say that it's not us just cutting them $100,000 check, they say they're gonna come in and request an amount up to $100,000.
Like they did this year, they came in, they
Yeah.
justified why they wanted 59, then they wanted
Yeah.
69, then they wanted 89, then they came back
Yeah.
to 59, then 49.
And the
then
numbers
59.
don't number all the time, so
That's why I'm
I,
suggesting if you could get them somehow to incorporate themselves into
yeah.
ClearGov.
But then I can't, I mean, I can put them in there, but we don't
Yeah.
monitor theirs, right? It's just like a budget, it's only up to 100,000, you know what I mean? If you don't spend the whole thing, if you do spend the whole thing.
Or just allocate 75 or whatever it is, like pick a number, I don't care what number you pick, I mean, I care very much what number you pick, but whatever. Pick a number, just like we do for youth and family, or actually youth and family comes in and says, we need an increase over last year.
Yeah,
So
and it's
give
usually a
them-
percentage increase.
I mean, this past year, the ambulance asked for 59.
But I guess my point is
So
it
give
makes
them
me
75, put it in the
nervous, cause
budget.
we're not budgeting for a solid number, we're budgeting for something that's gonna happen at some point, right?
You know,
Like,
Tony's budget is based on, she's done her budget at youth and family
right, like
services.
everything,
so
like the
she
lakes,
knows
they
how much
gave us
more
the
she
detail and they're
needs.
like, this is how much we're gonna need, and this is what it's for, and da-da-da-da-da.
To be fair, that changed. They sold the place and rented.
Right.
That budget changed.
Yeah, but she came and, you know,
Absolutely, so
right?
that, but I'm saying that,
Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm trying to get to.
But we
so-
always give them that dollar amount, what we
have
budget
asked
for is what we give
transparency
them.
on these numbers for a long time, and we have get numbers, new numbers every single time. Every single time
And
the
we
numbers
give
are
them
different.
what they like, that's the amount we work with, it's not just like a round number up to
So
for
this
us
is what I'm
that,
trying, again, to your point, is for the transparency and the people that say, okay, but if the town's gonna continue dealing with 501c3s, I wanna see where our money's being spent.
Like their
sure, I
budget
have no
should be
problem, I
part of
can
the
totally
clear-
get
know,
you,
If you put them in
I don't
ClearGov,
think I'm explaining myself the right way, they don't have a planned amount at this point.
It's
We
gonna
don't
get
They're
there.
have-
putting in a,
We don't have their next year's budget,
right,
right?
yeah,
Do
they
we
don't
have
have
their
their next year's
20,
budget either.
25, 26 budget? They don't
We
have
just
one.
got their
that
25
should be like a
budget.
subset of ClearGov if you're gonna create.
Yeah, it's gonna operate like the rest of
If you're
them,
gonna create a ClearGov page for them, just like Tony's.
just like Tony's.
Tony has
Right.
her next year's budget in ClearGov, so you can see what her budget is. and
When they come in and
Right,
talk to me
yes.
about their agreement, the agreement that we're working on, I will tell them that what we get from the lakes
Yeah,
and what we get from youth and family is next year's budget. And
yeah,
that accounting, and I'll show her, that accounting shows up and
it shows
there's
the
a line
request.
where we're giving her X amount of dollars.
But that, when we
And
had
that's
that
included
discussion
in
with
next year's
them,
budget.
when we had that discussion with them, they wanna be able to come in May or June and look at their current financials and say, how much do we need right now? And that's what makes, that's not how we plan for that's not how it works in the budget.
Right, and we can't do that, we can't keep throwing contingency money in there in case they need something.
Right, it's
So,
not a it's just
I'm
like,
more
and
comfortable
we're
with-
in,
A guaranteed amount every
we
year.
were working in the meeting
They
and they
have to
were
work
like,
with it.
oh, it's this number, and I'm like, well, I think 100,000 would work. It wasn't like backed up by anything, and then it was.
And I think Ken was saying when we had that meeting, that he wanted to get there.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna get there, I'm just, the way we get there is we keep talking about it, you know what I mean? So, like, those are in my brain, the gaps that exist with that
So that gets it away from what you're talking about, and I absolutely agree with you, that you can't keep giving us different spreadsheets.
with different numbers.
With different
2
numbers, and
weeks
whatnot,
apart.
we need to keep everybody with the same spreadsheet.
Yeah, yeah.
And whatever numbers you put in there, that's up to
Yeah.
you, how you delineate what you're gonna, how, you know, how you're gonna utilize the money. But
Yeah,
that's, I think, where the consistency comes in.
So
For
so
you
do
and
say
for me
50 and then tell them if they need more, then they have to go to Board of Finance to come out of the 90,000
you
contingency.
could, yeah.
You know, do you give them we'll guarantee you 50,
For this year,
right, and that's like a set number, like,
cause right now they're saying their
You know-
deficit is only 34 or something.
So you're saying more like
17.
the lakes?
17.
you know,
17,
we'll give you
thousand.
50,000, we'll put it into ClearGov as a budget for the ambulance, 50,000.
That's more like the
And
lakes
that's-
was done, right?
Right, and that's what we have. And then if they say, oh, you know, May or June, we're really running into a problem, that 50, we really needed 70, then they have to go to Board of Finance and ask for 20,000 out of the 90,000 contingency that
I mean,
the
in their
Board of Finance
presentation,
already keeps.
in their presentation
They
it
already
says
keep
17.
90,000 or whatever they choose to set.
I thought it was like quickly, I thought it was like.
The presentation, I think, on this page here talks about their running deficit of being 17 for the year, but QuickBooks right now calls it 5,500. This is like where my little finance brain can't handle this.
Where are you
Finance
I
brain.
can't, I don't understand
Irene math
it.
can't compete.
Yeah, this is the bottom of the profit and loss that we just got to print out, their net operating income,
This one?
right now,
In her latest fundraising effort that I got.
it's 5543, so I imagine that this
They maintain
17, I
two
guess, is
ambulances.
a
They pay for
projected
for.
deficit.
2 ambulances maintenance. Did you see that?
No, I
You
didn't
didn't
get
read
it.
it.
got
I didn't
the
want
flyer,
to,
but
I didn't want to,
read it.
cause I didn't wanna get incensed, and I read it anyway.
But we also, like, I guess, I don't know, I could just stop because we don't budget for associations' deficits, right? We budget for certain services that they provide for the town that we cover.
Yeah, like youth
It's not a moving
services,
target.
They handle all our social services on top of it,
It's not a moving target,
Everything,
that's my
right.
point.
but ambulance handles all,
Yeah,
ambulance calls, so I mean.
but a deficit is a moving target. A deficit can change from day to day. And we don't, it's hard to budget for a moving target.
I mean, I'm just saying in fairness, I would imagine ambulance associations have that same issue though, cause they have no idea how many calls they get. Like Lori was saying, like right now it's low for this year.
Right, I mean,
but
how many
that could
budgets do we
spike
have in here
up.
that we don't know what's gonna happen next year, but we have to
No,
set it
I
now.
know, but it's.
And it's just a budget, you know? But the numbers have consistently changed all the time and I have a hard time following it. I have a hard, so I can't even justify that. Not justify, but I can't understand the 100,000. I
But one of them
can't,
is
like, I
a
can't put it all together in my brain. The numbers just always change.
I understand.
I'm trying to make
She
them
hasn't
operate
paid
like others, you know what I mean?
She hasn't
To
paid
get them
stipends
into the
either.
groove.
Yeah.
So when we put the
And it's just
$100,000 in contingency,
not
is that, is that for our ambulance or their ambulance?
Ours.
Okay.
Because they're not buying anymore, we're buying.
Yeah, it's our turn, right?
They're all supposed to be our turn.
It's our turn from now
According
until
to the old,
the
Oh, okay,
the contract that's currently in place.
in place, okay.
You know, they bought the first one, that was their last ambulance they were buying, and when we bought the next one, we were supposed to buy the one after, but then they decided to re-chassis the one that they had. So they asked for the
right,
money out of
right.
contingency
For
back
that,
to re-chassis that they had put in. And so we're on the docket to purchase all the ambulances. And we're running overdue on.
On the actual years, so
Yeah,
that's,
'cause
I mean,
it's
if
2016 that we are replacing.
if we're 4 to 5 years out on a fire engine, I don't know what the lead time is on an ambulance.
She said it was 2 years.
similar, yeah, the story's always been 2 years. So we have the 300,000 right now. But again, if we're looking for another one coming up,
In 5 years, you still need to reserve
like
every
what's
year.
300,000
coming forward.
divided by 5, you know what I mean? Like
I'd say
60,000.
That's what I said, it's a putting in
Yeah.
another 68,000 is probably
Probably
the smart
sufficient,
thing to
yeah.
do every year, and then you might have enough money coming.
Mhm. The one that we're have a hard time
And because
catching
there
up.
are vehicles now and they're going under the fire department budgets. Cause it's capital, it's fire and rescue apparatus, they're paying for the repairs. Under that line, the town is paying, not them, the town is paying. So the repairs for the ambulance can be added to the town budget under apparatus for fire and rescue. Then that all should just be the same thing, so we don't need to start another line for necessarily
No,
all of that, cause it's already being paid
Yeah,
for
that'll be
things.
fine.
Mhm.
I think in the reserves though, the elephant in the room is the fire apparatus reserves. I think that
way too
$100,000
that's
must
like
have
a
been
drop in
set
the
back
bucket.
when the trucks were 500 grand, you know what I mean?
And nobody
And
understood.
nobody-
Those needs to come
Nobody
out.
understood when you add $1.5 million truck and you need that in 3 years, well, you know what, $100,000 isn't gonna
$100,000 is
cut
gonna
it.
take you 15 years to get there.
So that your reserves have to match
Your
Your
purchase schedules.
purchase schedule for the 10 years out.
Well, then that
And
would
we
be.
used
They
to
have,
change
they
it.
have to buy another truck in 2029.
Right, we
Which
used to
would be
change the
crazy, 'cause if
reserves
you're
like
gonna do
every
3
year to
vehicles.
balance what it would cost.
You're gonna do 3 vehicles, how do you save for 3
Saving enough
vehicles?
money.
You're gonna replace 2 at $1.5 million apiece
Right now.
right now.
Yeah.
Which is 4 to 5 years out.
Well,
You can order it
technically,
now.
we're gonna order now.
You're gonna order now, which, yes, you
Yep.
have to have a deposit or however much
Right.
it is.
And then
But if
5
it's-
years from now, we have to buy another one.
So say also too, you're gonna replace the ambulance, I mean, $68,000 a year ain't doing.
Well,
And
it is, in
No,
3
times
years,
it by
or
5.
5 years, you'll have $300,000.
Cause we don't need another, we're gonna
That's
buy,
a
we have
separate-
money in there now.
That's
I
a separate
understand
side,
that,
set
but
aside.
do it all at the same time.
558, 568 a year that we need to save, because in 2029.
Here's my point, I don't think I heard that yet.
$568,000?
Yeah, we were
There's
just keeping
separate
them separate,
reserves.
but
There's a fire
Oh, yeah,
reserve
yeah,
and ambulance reserve.
he's
Yeah, I
suggesting
know,
that
that'll
the
just blow.
reserve for fire apparatus includes the ambulance money, so it's 568 for the next 5 years, and then we have money for both.
This is why I'm saying if we could get to a point where we could start staggering these things a little bit.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Well, some of it is
You
that
know what's,
are in
I
it-
mean,
are in a, in.
We used to have a nice 10-year chart. Everything would go out 10 years so you could kind of see where your,
that's what ClearGov does for us,
ebbs and valleys are.
but bonding those will help, right? It's not gonna hit taxation, but we have to figure out that 2029, how to get there. Like how much that truck is and how to get there.
You gotta keep beating
But I
that
think
in
that the
mind
reserves have
as far as the
probably,
taxation and bonding.
Right.
The
I
reason
wasn't-
why fire
I
reserves-
wasn't here, but I bet you the reserves are low hanging fruit. It's an easy place to cut at the end of the budget when you're trying to lower expenses.
Not just that, the
Cause
fire
that's your savings
department
account.
changed.
Yeah,
Like, they changed their decisions on what they were buying so many times that
yeah,
it was very difficult
to follow.
follow the reserves and reserve enough money for everything that was needed. And then we had, new staff that didn't really deal with reserves too much, so everything stayed.
Hence
Status quo.
why a person at a higher level who's in the finance
To have
office
some
is
sort of
able to
continuity.
have
Yeah,
that continuity.
I agree that you're gonna have a better handle on that. However, again, like I keep saying, the next administration comes in, they go, no, they made you, now you've lost that. Again, that's all.
The other thing too is there's 368,000 sitting in there for the brush truck.
It is in their reserves.
So they
They
haven't done
don't buy a
anything with that.
brush truck, that rolls to the.
So
Well, that's what I
Next
said, roll
fire
it to the next
apparatus.
one, but they're like, what about our brush truck? That's what Tim said the last board of commissioners.
And I was told to hold up on that.
Exactly, she was told to hold, it's on hold.
So just for
Yeah, well, once
clarification too, one of these trucks is one of the, and again, they call it an engine, but it's the one I went out at, sitting at Hayward, it's the one I went out to look at with
Squad, calling it
what was it?
squad, the new
Sorry.
squads.
One of those, I think it's 615.
Yep. One of the ones to be replaced.
So the 350 is the brush, they're calling the brush truck, but the engine 615 I think is one of the other brush trucks. That was the one that has a little tank on it, and one that was refurbished in '79, I believe. Yeah.
Cause they gave them new printouts.
Oh.
It put them right back
I had a
there.
long day.
It put.
I'm still today, back
I
at.
don't
I'm
even
worried
know.
about the dam. That's-
Damn,
The
damn.
damn.
I'm still back at today.
So the 115, the rescue,
Rescue 150.
and the 215 engine is with the first one. The next one is an engine 415 and an engine 615.
Actually, 115 that should have been correct.
No, 115.
No, I'm sorry.
No.
No, 415 was right, but it's not
But it's
a
an engine,
rescue,
not a
it's an
rescue.
engine.
Yes, I'm sorry, that's the correction.
The rescue was, yeah, I think it's time to throw out.
Yep. Seeing double now.
I think it's amazing that we have the 615, which is a 19-year-old thing with a 46-year-old body. Like,
It looks great.
doesn't
I mean, it looks
Isn't that amazing?
really, I mean, they take care of their trucks. I mean, that's the,
This other engine is 28 years old. The other engine is 22-year-old. These are old trucks. And they're both being replaced by identical squad.
Mhm.
I'm getting it.
I'm not, so I'm glad you are.
It's the Irene Mac.
I like it.
You gotta go to school. Honestly, I have to say, in this job, I have never had such a math education in my life.
It's unlike any other math you've
It
ever
really
done in
is.
your life.
It's unbelievable, because I have always stayed away. And every now and then, I'll find myself saying something and I'll be like, where the hell is that? Wait, what? That even makes sense.
It's scary, I think we have all the fire apparatus but two. All the
Oh,
fire
God.
apparatus purchases but two.
Say what?
I said, I've been around here for all the fire apparatus purchases but two of them.
Give that girl another raise.
Seriously.
3 stickers.
97 and
3
97.
stickers.
3 stickers for
Three stickers.
I have
Everything else
a
is here.
potentially silly question, right? But
Come on, no
we just
questions, silly.
determined that it's two of the same truck, right?
Correct.
Okay. So first one that says replacing Rescue 115 and engine 215. $1.5 million on one side, $1.5 million on the other page. Second one, replacing engine 415 and engine 615.
1.2 million.
It's 1.5 and 1.2. If they're identical, why isn't it 1.5 and 1.5? Or 1.2?
What was the answer to that?
The funding source is over here. The funding source is down by 300,000.
Well, no, so
Because
one of
that's
them
my
is
question.
in
One of them
slated
said-
for
one of them
1.5
did for
and
a
the other
million
one's slated
and a
for
half,
1.2 million.
And the other one did for $1.2 million.
But if they're
why
identical-
are they both the
right.
same?
That's
What
my
was that
question.
question? They were identical, but there was something else. We'll have to look at the recording maybe. Cause we asked this question and they were like, yeah, they're identical except
There was something?
something.
Well, there was something worth 300,000.
There was something worth $300,000 that's different. Does that work for you?
Yeah, I would kinda like to know what the something is.
I don't remember that being asked.
Not
It
the other
wasn't
night,
asked
but-
in the dollar amount, but it was asked, you were like, are you purchasing two of the same exact vehicles?
Yes.
That was
And
asked.
they were
was
like,
something
yes,
else, yeah.
except for, and they had something else that they said.
With this term squad,
Yeah, but then they had something else that they said, which supported, and we were like, oh, that's the slight difference.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I only wrote down squad.
You don't
so
remember
I-
that?
No, I don't
Okay,
know.
maybe I'm making it up. I don't know.
No, I think you're right, but I only wrote down squad and I didn't write down what the difference was
Yeah.
between the two.
I mean, we could
I
look at
didn't
the
either. I guess
recording.
you asked, I can ask.
We can ask, yeah, or look
I,
at the
you know, just
recording.
that's a big
Because
difference.
you're right, why wouldn't it be the same?
Another
Right.
1.5, yeah,
Yeah.
or 1.2.
another
1.2.
1.2.
Yeah. Ideally, it would be
So I
1.2.
guess you
Not
asked
right?
why they're not the same price. Who would be the best person to give you that answer, Chris? Or John? Who put it in? John? put it in?
John.
I might get a quicker answer from Ray if you want me to ask him right now.
Yeah, because he was the one talking on that,
Sounds like a
speaking
plan.
on that.
What did you do before we went taxi?
You waited.
You waited for an answer.
You waited.
Can't wait.
And then you would call
Now we
people.
We had to
live
call
in-
people
we
and
live in
speak to
immediate-
them?
And you would, and if
immediate
they didn't
world.
pick up, you left a message and you waited for them to get
So
home
I
and you
texted
listened to their
somebody-
messages
I
and
texted
get back
somebody
to you.
this morning and asked available dates. I got their email address back as a text. I was like, okay, so I sent an email.
You're like, this wasn't an email question, yes or no question.
Oh, that's funny.
That's what I thought.
So you did send
I
him
thought
an
it was
email?
funny. Then I sent an email asking exactly,
With
okay,
the same
fine.
question.
What is available dates do you have? Like,
Maybe I'll get an answer here.
and then I just did
In your email?
in my email.
So it worked. Good one.
Certain people have certain ways in which they like to, you know, communicate. Some people like, believe me, I get Facebook messages, I
That's
get
right,
snail
can't do it
mail,
on
I get
Facebook.
emails, I get text messages. And then every
So
now and then,
easy
one
to
slips
miss
through the
one.
fence and it's just like, oh, I should.
And then you
By
never
the
get
way, I
handed
do
it.
get your messages up at the Capitol with the capital things.
I sent you messages?
You have.
I
A
did?
couple times. I'm like,
Oh,
I
they
gotta
were
keep,
probably like automated.
no, you wrote them out, handwritten. You were up at the
Oh,
Capitol
yeah,
and
yeah,
wrote.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I got them.
I think it was only one this year, yeah.
Yeah.
Last year, a couple. I think
I
only one
recall
so far
one from
this
last
year.
year and one
Yeah.
this year. So I do get them. And I've been
She
meaning to
responds with
say.
her email address. You should just respond with your email.
There you go. And usually Ray's pretty quick, but so far nothing, but I'll let you know if he responds.
It is Saturday,
It
we're
doesn't
like the
matter.
only people in the world working. No, just kidding.
Alright, anything else you wanna go over before we call it quits for today?
I just have
I
something
think we kinda
that I wanna
reviewed,
mention, cause if I don't mention it now, I will likely forget, and I
Yeah.
say this at the risk of making Val's head explode, but
spin.
I was at the
Get quick, get a
bank,
hat.
I
You
was
were
at the bank yesterday
Yeah.
for personal stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, I give them my name and the teller goes.
Yeah.
She goes, you must be with the town, and I said, is that because like 87,000 accounts
Yeah.
just came up? Anyway,
Yeah.
long story short, apparently there are 2 dormant accounts, she said. She said there's 2 dormant accounts on the town side,
Okay.
and I guess I didn't get balances, but there's some money in there. And she said if we don't do something about it, it goes back to the state.
Then why don't they
It's
tell us
It's
that?
the land,
Well, they may have told our
Use-
treasurer. Because
Land-
she's the banking person.
Okay, I'm
Land
emailing the
use
bank lady right now.
bond fund,
Yeah, we need that.
What a mess.
It's just there's
and
no activity for a long time.
land use bond fund.
I'm emailing the bank lady right now.
Green,
Rachel?
Yeah.
what?
Green?
Rachel?
No, green.
Yeah.
It was almost green committee, except I think there's another word in there. Green.
I'm
It
gonna
was something I
email-
never heard of. Green revitalization?
It's a village revitalization.
Nope,
No,
started
they
with
haven't.
green.
Green.
I wrote it
Um,
down, but of
do
course
we-
the note is in my
should
car.
we ask for a motion
Green
to?
Village?
Maybe, yeah.
Green Village
Yep.
is an
Green
account.
Village, that's an account.
Did we ever
We-
take care of the driveway bonds?
What did we have to take care of?
We got them shored up.
Oh, what? What do you mean? We didn't do
Well,
anything with them.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I'm gonna email.